Chapter 138. As the Yun family's eldest grandson, he had a high status and a noble identity, so he never lacked people to flatter him. However, Zhao Kun, who was filled with unruliness and was extremely powerful, bowing his head and admitting defeat, how could this feeling be the same? Even if Yun Shao was cheap, he still had his own pride. He was the most playboy in Central State and he was often looked down upon by others. The Yun family had been ridiculed by countless people behind their backs, so of course he was not feeling good. Today he had turned things around and was proud of himself. Yun Zhao's excitement could not be described with words. At this moment, Zhao Kun was full of admiration for Yun Shao and the others had looks of worship on their faces. Yun Shao felt like his heart was about to fly into the clouds. He was a very vain fellow that loved to show off, so this kind of treatment was even better than sleeping with a brothel hostess. How could they know? Yun Shao did not understand a single word of what he had said to Zhao Kun. It was all memorized by Chu Tian's cruel training. Cuckoo! That's enough for you. Chu Tian could not stand this idiot. He was just a bit proud and forgot himself. He was just a pile of shit that couldn't climb up the wall. Yun Shao was shocked and afraid of Chu Tian, so how could he dare go against his words? Yun Shao quickly put away his expression and revealed the appearance of an expert. He nodded at Zhao Kun, but he did not enter the room. Rather he walked forward with his head held high as he walked to the second courtyard. A lackey on the side shouted out, "The Vermilion Bird's 25th ranked Yun Shao has come to challenge. I ask the Vermilion Bird's 24th ranked to accept my challenge." Well, he still wanted to fight. Everyone was stunned. Yun Shao wanted to keep challenging? In a normal situation, a student would act according to their strength. They would challenge whoever they felt they could reach that position. On one hand, it was easy to exhaust one's stamina and it would affect one's battle strength. On the other hand, wasn't he deliberately trying to embarrass others by defeating them? Yun Shao actually wanted to fight them one by one? This was too wild. A person's spirit energy was limited, so how many could he fight? But there was no fear of things becoming bigger. While everyone was shocked, they were also filled with excitement. Why couldn't they see this before? This idiot second generation was a ruthless person. At this moment, a large man came out of the courtyard and his cold eyes swept over Yun Shao. What happened? Zhao Kun, how could you lose to this fellow? Boss guided you in your cultivation and helped you get into the top 30 of the Vermilion Bird rankings. I'm really disappointed in Boss's place. Wu Yong, don't speak so early. Zhao Kun sighed. You'll know once you compete with him. Vermilion Bird ranking 25th place, Wu Yong. He was born into a military family. Although the family was not large, it was still a local noble family. Therefore, he received a lot of resources from a young age. Wu Yong snorted coldly, "Then I'll let you have a taste of the power of the Devil Tiger technique." Without a second word, they immediately started fighting. Wu Yong's figure crouched down, and a brutal aura spread out. It was as if he had instantly turned into a giant multicolored tiger, and his murderous aura locked onto his target. There was going to be a good show to watch. This Devil Tiger skill was a close combat skill. It aimed to hit its target with a single strike, and its destructive power was extremely shocking. As Wu Yong's legs stomped on the ground and he sprinted, he spat out a tiger's roar from his mouth. Dense origin energy fused into the sound waves, and he shot towards the sky like a cannonball. Good timing. Yun Shao gave a loud roar. That long blade released a lightning glow and a majestic aura. In an instant, it was like 10,000 bolts of lightning in a clear sky. The speed at which it gathered strength was hard to imagine, making it hard for people to block it. Break! The blade slashed out as fast as lightning, tearing through the tiger's roar. The wild lightning blade slashed towards Wu Yong. How can it be this strong? Wu Yong was shocked, but he did not have time to dodge. Yun Zhao's blade did not touch him, but the lightning glow was released, instantly breaking the Devil Tiger skill's protective spirit energy. The terrifying strength sent Wu Yong flying several meters away, and his body turned black. He ended up in the same state as Zhao Kun. Thank you for letting me win. Yun Shao gently cupped his hands and put away the long blade. Another one slash to defeat the enemy. The blade's power was too strong. There was almost no accumulation process, directly sending it out like a thunderbolt. It really was worthy of being called the Three Thunder Blades. Yun Xiao pretended to have a profound expression as he said, "Brother Wu, your Devil Tiger skill has been trained to the small success realm, but it doesn't have any power. If you make this change, your power will increase by several times." Yun Xiao repeated the words that Chu Tian taught him. Wu Yong was completely stunned. Was this really Yun Xiao? This was simply a martial arts master of a generation. I'm convinced. Everyone went into an uproar. Defeating a person was easy, but it was hard to convince the other side. How could Wu Yong not be convinced? Not only did Yun Xiao defeat him with a single slash, he had also pointed out the weakness of his cultivation technique, allowing him to greatly benefit from it. How many people in Central State Academy could do this? If the previous time was a coincidence, then what was this? First he defeated Zhao Kun, then he defeated Wu Yong. Yun Xiao's performance was like he had been reborn. Everyone began to doubt whether the person in front of them was the real Yun Xiao. Could he be a transformed demon? Yun Xiao's body was filled with energy and his expression became wild. It was as if he had been injected with chicken blood as he continued to fight. The Vermilion Bird Dojo's 24th ranked Yun Xiao has come to challenge me. The Vermilion Bird Dojo's 23rd ranked Yun Xiao has come to challenge me. The Vermilion Bird Dojo's 22nd ranked Yun Xiao has come to challenge me. Everyone was dumbfounded by what they saw. This fellow did not look like he had taken a stimulant, rather he looked like he had taken several kilograms of aphrodisiac. After fighting over 10 rounds, he still did not fall. Of course, this was also Chu Tian's doing. Chu Tian had already prepared pills that were made from yuan essence grass. It would allow Yun Xiao to quickly recover his spirit energy and ensure that his spirit energy was full. As he continued to fight, he was unobstructed. 3 slashes. Yun Xiao did not use more than 3 slashes. Each opponent was defeated in 3 slashes. Not only did Yun Xiao defeat them, he also gave them some pointers. This was not normal pointers, he was directly changing other people's cultivation technique. This caused everyone to burst out in wild cheers. This was simply too crazy. Challenging over 10 people in a row was a very abnormal matter, but he had changed over 10 different cultivation techniques. Of these people, some of them were cultivating the Academy's cultivation techniques, and some of them had brought their own skills into the Academy. There were all sorts of different cultivation techniques, but there was one thing that was the same. They were all classic cultivation techniques that had been passed down for hundreds of years. If it was this easy to change, would it still be called a classic cultivation technique? Even if the Yun sect master, Central State Academy's vice principal, Yun Tianhe, personally came, it would still be hard to change one of them. But this idiot had done it. He was known as the most useless direct descendant of the 4 great clans. Yun Xiao's name had spread throughout Central State City. The other campuses outside of the Vermilion Bird Academy all received this news. Have you heard? Yun Xiao has turned into a cultivation technique master and is wildly challenging people in the Vermilion Bird Courtyard. That's impossible, right? It's not like everyone doesn't know what kind of trash that fellow is. I've also heard about it. This matter is completely true and it has already been spread. Everyone is running to the Vermilion Bird Courtyard. As long as we can hear his evaluation, it will be worth several years of cultivation. Wait for me. I'm going too. Countless students swarmed over. The Vermilion Bird Courtyard was completely surrounded. This lowest-ranked academy of the 4 great courtyards had not been this lively in a long time. Under everyone's gazes, Yun Xiao defeated several opponents in 3 slashes and gave a few cultivation technique modifications. It was true. Yun Xiao's cultivation was average, but he was a cultivation technique and martial arts master. God! He's still challenging people. How many is this already? I can't remember, but it should be around 20. I'm convinced. Yun Xiao's actions had never been heard of in the history of Central State Academy. After today's performance, Yun Xiao was destined to become famous in Central State Academy. The entire Central State Academy would have to re-evaluate Yun Xiao. Even the entire Yun family would have to be re-evaluated. Yun Yao had been silently paying attention to this. When she received the latest news from Yun Xiao, she immediately rushed home and told her grandfather the good news. Now that brat is in the limelight. Everyone is giving him a nickname, calling him a cultivation technique master, a crazy challenge demon. Yun Tianhe spat out a mouthful of tea. Cultivation technique master? Nonsense. Nonsense. Impossible. How could he not know his own grandson? With that kind of talent, how could he be a cultivation technique master? A brothel master, a playful master, or a meat and wine master? Yun Yao's face was filled with excitement as she said, "It's true, if you don't believe me, you can ask around. You don't even need to ask around, it will spread throughout the entire city tomorrow." This was the first time Yun Tianhe felt old. How could his brain be so slow? Then what about the crazy challenge demon title? Yun Yao gave a bitter smile and said, "Yun Zhao's battle banner is challenging the Vermilion Bird School's rankings. From the latest news, he has already defeated 20 people and entered the top 10, continuing to challenge others." What? Yun Tianhe wished he could pinch himself. This couldn't be a dream, right? Yun Yao let out a sigh and said, I have no choice but to accept it. Lu Ren has only trained him for 3 days, but that brat's change. It really makes me feel terrified. It's simply inconceivable. 3 days? What could he do in 3 days? Yun Xiao had a lazy nature and liked to indulge in debauchery. The Yun family had used all sorts of methods, but they could not raise him up. If it wasn't for the fact that Yun Xiao was the eldest grandson, they would have already kicked him out. This half-crippled person, after receiving a short 3 days of special training, had actually been reborn. Yun Tianhe did not know if he should be happy or afraid. His grandson being reborn was a good thing, but that youth was too abnormal. This kind of talent was not something a small southern summer country should have. Who was he? Letting Yun Xiao show off on purpose is most likely to hide himself. He is this cautious, most likely because he has enemies. You should continue to follow them and prevent any accidents from happening. Yun Tianhe stood up and said to himself, "A genius can't just appear out of nowhere, I have to investigate his true identity." Yun Tianhe had already given up on the idea of keeping Chu Tian. There were some people that the Yun family could not keep. This was an ancient genius with ambitions for the world. He could not stay in the Yun family for a long time. If he used forceful methods to keep him, it would only attract trouble. This kind of person being able to stay here was already a great fortune. Yun Tianhe did not dare ask for too much. If Yun Tianhe wanted to protect him, he would first have to know his identity, only then would he be able to defend against him. Chapter 139. Yun Xiao had caused a stir in Central State Academy. The students of the 3 great academies all came to the Vermilion Bird courtyard to watch. Wow! Young Master Yun is so handsome. I never thought he would be such a strong person. The eyes of the beautiful young girls sparkled as they looked at Yun Xiao. Yun Xiao's heart was filled with excitement. He wished he could turn into a wolf and howl into the sky. This brat was becoming more and more arrogant. Chu Tian almost couldn't hold back from kicking him. He really was a pile of shit that couldn't climb up the wall. He didn't even think about who taught him his saber techniques and didn't think about the cultivation techniques he had modified. Could he even understand them? He actually dared to be this arrogant. He really was a pig. Chu Tian's plan was actually very simple. He wanted to start a training class and Yun Xiao would be used to advertise. Thinking about it, even trash like Yun Xiao could become gold after a few days of training, so who couldn't succeed? Using Yun Xiao to advertise, the effect would be very good. Chu Tian wanted Yun Xiao to cause a stir, but he also tried to control it to a certain degree. This was because going too far was as bad as not doing enough, so he had to be careful. Chu Tian obtained the information of the top 25 Vermilion Bird courtyard and based on their cultivation techniques, he made some targeted improvements. Of course it was a very small improvement, it was not like the Lightning Blitz secret art. Even if it was like this, the final result was far beyond one's imagination. Chu Tian's small improvements, to others, were not the same. Every word that Yun Xiao said, every word that he said, benefited everyone greatly. It made the students feel intoxicated. In the end, there was a matter that made people not know whether to laugh or cry. When Yun Xiao challenged the second and third rank students, they clearly had the strength to fight Yun Xiao. Who would have thought that before the third move, the two of them would admit defeat? It wasn't for anything else, it was just for Yun Xiao's guidance. It had to be known. The higher one's ranking, the more resources and honor they would receive. If any of the 4 great courtyards could enter the top 3, they would receive a shocking amount of resources every month. These people resolutely chose to give up. Just for guidance. Because compared to the 80,000 gold coins and elixirs every month, Yun Xiao's guidance was much more useful to them. Congratulations to young Master Yun for becoming the Vermilion Bird Courtyard's 2nd rank. Congratulations to young Master Yun for becoming the Vermilion Bird Courtyard's 2nd rank. The crowd cheered excitedly. Yun Xiao, who was surrounded by countless people, was dumbfounded. At this moment, it was like a dream, causing him to be slightly unable to distinguish between reality and illusion. What was going on? Did he accidentally become 2nd place? How inexplicable! A spoiled 2nd generation who spent every day eating, drinking, whoring, and gambling had actually advanced triumphantly all the way to number 2 in the Vermilion Bird Courtyard, causing everyone to have a whole new level of respect for him. I, Yun Xiao, can also bring honor to my family? I, Yun Xiao, can also become an influential person in the academy? I, Yun Xiao, can use my strength to obtain everyone's respect? In the last 10 years of the Yun family, other than his older sister, Yun Yao, no one had surpassed him. The academy would be stirred, the Yun family would be stirred, Central State City would be stirred. They had struck it rich this time. The status of the Yun family and the academy had both risen. They had more and more money, privileges, and resources. The most important thing was that it was easier to pick up girls. With such a big halo above his head, those girls would be like moths flying into a flame. While Yun Xiao was drooling while daydreaming. Challenge number 1. Challenge number 1. Challenge number 1. Waves of tsunami-like shouts directly pulled Yun Xiao back to reality. Yun Xiao was filled with confidence as he heroically waved his hand. Ha, 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 everyone don't be anxious. I'll go take 1st place right now. As soon as he finished speaking, Yun Xiao quickly pulled Chu Tian to the side. Big brother. You will be my big brother from now on. If you tell this little brother to go south, I will not go north. If you tell this little brother to climb a mountain of blades, this little brother will not go down. Please tell me how to fight the Vermilion Bird Courtyard's number 1? What should I tell him? Chu Tian helplessly rolled his eyes. Do you really think I'm a god? You only told me that the Vermilion Bird Courtyard's number 1 uses a fire-attributed cultivation technique, but you don't know anything about her cultivation technique or her fighting style. Do you want me to create something out of nothing? Yun Xiao's eyes went wide. Then what should I do? It didn't matter. Yun Xiao's ranking did not matter to him, it was already enough advertising. Damn, this old lady is going to die from anger. Who is causing trouble in the Vermilion Bird Courtyard? An angry voice came from the distance. Strange. Why was this voice so familiar? When Chu Tian was feeling puzzled, a strong pressure covered the entire Vermilion Bird Courtyard. Everyone present felt their bodies heat up, as if they were standing next to a stove. She's here. There's a good show to watch. In the blue sky, there were no clouds in 10,000 miles. At this moment, the wind was howling and the sky was covered in a red glow. A fire phoenix appeared in the sky, like an ancient spiritual god descending to the earth. The might of a divine beast was released and the fiery energy burned the earth. It was like a cruel tyrant, plundering every drop of water from the earth. God, what kind of power was this? When did the Vermilion Bird Courtyard have this kind of expert? The students from the other 3 courtyards felt their hairs stand on end as they were suppressed to the point of not daring to breathe. This was asking for their lives. Yun Xiao was so scared that he almost peed his pants. He had never seen such a strong source spirit before. When he faced the fire phoenix, not to mention issuing a challenge, he didn't even have the courage to fight. It had finally appeared, the strongest new student in the history of Central State Academy. When she first came to Central State Academy, she was only at the peak 9th body refinement layer, but she had entered the Vermilion Bird Courtyard's top 3. The next day, this heaven-defying monster had broken through to the awakened soul realm. She had defeated the first 2 in one move and became the Vermilion Bird first rank. The third day, this monster had reached the second awakened soul layer in one go. This kind of terrifying cultivation speed far surpassed the Central State 4 young masters. Although she was only at the second awakened soul layer, compared to the 4 young masters, this girl was not inferior at all. Her might was even slightly stronger than the other 3. Even compared to the heavenly sword young master Chu Xinghe, she was not inferior by much. After all, Chu Xinghe was not only the most talented person in the history of the Chu family, he had also obtained the inheritance of an ancient sword cultivation sect. His background was not something the other 3 young masters could compare to. In the middle of the blazing fire phoenix, there was a fiery hot girl standing in the air. Wearing a fiery red dress, her arms and legs were slender, her skin was as white as snow, and her red hair danced in the wind. That fiery aura made people unable to look at her. Nangongyun? The Vermilion Bird Courtyard's first rank was Nangongyun? I'm still wondering, this fellow seems to have disappeared. At this moment, Nangongyun angrily landed on the ground, creating a red shockwave. The surrounding people were like dominoes, instantly falling down. There were even some people who suffered minor internal injuries. Damn! This girl is too violent. We are just innocent people. Young Master Yun, quickly go. Defeat her and take first place. Yun Xiao could not even stand straight. When he heard these words, large beads of sweat fell like rain. Do your eyes grow on your butts? What kind of fight is this? Do you want father to die? Where did this brat come from? Daring to hit this old lady's people, you're seeking death. Nangongyun's mood was already very low. When she had brought over 1 million gold coins to Central State City, she wanted to do something big. She wanted to make a pleasant surprise and surprise Chu Tian and Meng Qingwu. Because of this, she could not wait to expand her plans. Was the situation in Central State as simple as South Sky City? Nangongyun could do whatever she wanted in South Sky City mainly because her father was the mayor. However, what did she have in Central State City? Nangongyun had made several moves, but she had spent quite a bit of money without any results. This made Nangongyun suffer a huge blow. She was also a smart person. When she realized that she could not make waves in South Sky City, she could only take a step back and break through her cultivation realm. She would first gain a foothold in Central State Academy. Nangongyun was a person who did not admit defeat. At least she could do something for miracle commerce, right? Because of this, Nangongyun was like a dazzling meteor, rising at an unbelievable speed in Central State Academy. She obtained the Vermilion Bird Ranking's first place and became a dark horse in Central State Academy. She followed Chu Tian's warning. Nangongyun used the Vermilion Bird Courtyard as her foundation and began to gather reliable people. For example, Zhao Kuan and Wu Yong, they were all her people. Out of the 36 people on the Vermilion Bird Ranking, there were 20 people who followed Nangongyun. These were all talents. What did miracle commerce lack? Wasn't it just talents? Nangongyun had gathered people with clean backgrounds in order to develop miracle commerce in the future. Who would have thought that even like this, Nangongyun's days would not be good? The Chu, Yi, and Luo families had deep backgrounds in the students. When they found out that Nangongyun was recruiting people, how could they just sit back and watch? Because of this, the Vermilion Bird Courtyard was challenged every 2 or 3 days. The students that followed Nangongyun were often poached, threatened, and even beaten for no reason. Quite a few people had left recently. The society that Nangongyun had worked hard to create, in just a few days, 1/3 of its members had disappeared. How could Nangongyun not be angry? How could Nangongyun not be filled with hate? She couldn't do big things and couldn't do small things well. The chairman had sent her to Central State to be the vanguard for miracle commerce, but who would have thought that it would be this difficult? Damn it! Someone had come to cause trouble again. The most hateful thing was that all of her subordinates had been taught a lesson. As a big sister, how could she endure this? Otherwise, where would her prestige go? If she didn't beat him into a meat patty today, this old lady would write her name backwards. When Yun Xiao saw the fiendish Nangong Yun, his face turned green with fright. This was a witch that had recently risen up among the students. Although he had never seen her before, he had already heard of her fierce name. 10 days ago, there were people who provoked Nangong Yun. In a fit of anger, Nangong Yun fought against 6 of them and broke their arms. 6 days ago, Nangong Yun gathered 20 to 30 people and went to the Azure Dragon courtyard to fight, severely injuring more than 30 inner courtyard students from the Azure Dragon courtyard on the spot. More than 10 of them were experts on the Azure Dragon ranking, and at least half of them were personally dealt with by Nangong Yun. 3 days ago, Nangong Yun ran to the Central State Academy's Chu family's residential area by herself. She destroyed half of the building and heavily injured over 20 people. This was a witch with violent tendencies. Yun Xiao knew that this girl was very strong, but her series of victories had made her arrogant. So, she began to speak arrogantly and wanted to challenge the first-place disciple. If he knew that this witch was this strong, even if Yun Xiao had the guts, he wouldn't have dared to go up. Cuckoo. This. Yun Xiao was trembling, but he forced out a smile and said, "This young master is tired today, let's fight another day." Nangong Yun did not care about that. She was already filled with rage. "You want to run? If you're a man, then eat 10 or 20 of my fists first." After saying this, she rolled up her sleeves and was about to step forward to beat him up. She did not care who Yun Xiao was. Since he didn't have eyes and offended her, she wouldn't be able to live up to his fierce name without breaking a few dozen bones. Nangong Yun was about to explode. When Yun Xiao was about to shout for help, suddenly, Nangong Yun stopped moving forward and her wild aura stopped. Her 2 eyes filled with flames suddenly fell onto the person beside Yun Xiao. This person was dressed very normally and had a very mediocre appearance. Standing in the crowd, it was hard to find him. Others could not recognize him. How could Nangong Yun not recognize him? When Chu Tian had changed his appearance for the first time, Nangong Yun had been shocked. Not to mention the Netherworld ancient sword and the little white fox. Weren't these things only Chu Tian had? Why would this fellow appear in Central State Academy? That idiot was standing so close to him, could he have brought him here? From the current situation, it seemed like Chu Tian did not know that she was the Vermilion Bird first ranker. This was truly a flood rushing into the Dragon King's temple, not recognizing one's family. Yun Xiao trembled in fear. What should I do? I've just become famous and my beautiful life has just begun. I don't want to be paralyzed by this witch. Quickly save me. This woman is very strong. Even if I personally make a move, I don't have a high chance of winning against her. Chu Tian gently spread out his hand. You've offended her, so don't even think about leaving. But relax, according to my understanding, she is very quick with her attacks, so you won't suffer too much. Just close your eyes and endure it for a bit. Even if you're paralyzed, as long as you're alive, I'll think of a way to cure you. Boss? Yun Xiao's face turned green. You can't be like this. Chapter 140. There is a way. Chu Tian said a few words to Yun Xiao. Yun Xiao was a little hesitant after hearing this. Will this work? It's fine if you don't believe me. Yun Xiao threw caution to the wind and pretended to be calm. He cupped his hands and said in a neither servile nor overbearing manner, "Although I have never seen you before, I have heard of your righteousness. Yun Xiao greatly admires you, and being able to exchange blows with you today is the fortune of 3 lifetimes. I will send out 3 slashes, and if I am still not a match after 3 slashes, I am willing to join Elder Sister's charge. I will be willing to die 10,000 times for Elder Sister." Everyone's eyes fell to the ground. This Yun Xiao was just too exaggerated. If he couldn't win, wouldn't he be selling himself to Nangong Yun? Nangong Yun looked at Chu Tian and the latter nodded. Nangong Yun knew that this was arranged by Chu Tian and crossed her arms. 3 slashes? Even if it's 13 slashes or 30 slashes, what can you do to me? I won't fight back, you can attack however you want. If you can even harm a single hair of mine, then I'll consider it my loss. Everyone was shocked once again. Nangong Yun was being too arrogant. Yun Zhao's slash was like a thunderbolt, normal people could not block it at all. Not to mention standing still and letting him cut them. Alright. Yun Zhao did not waste any time. A bolt of lightning appeared in his ears and the long saber turned into a rainbow. Yun Zhao threw away the saber and held it with both hands. His body was covered in lightning and it was like a heavenly thunder as he fiercely slashed at Nangong Yun. Nangong Yun closed her eyes. Countless streaks of starlight surrounded her body. From sparse to dense, from scattered to condensed, it was just like a layer of gauze covering her body. Nangong Yun released the starlight immortal body, but it was clear that she did not use her full strength. Against trash like Yun Zhao, she did not need to condense her full strength to block. Ding. Yun Zhao was sent flying several meters. He felt his blood churn and he almost suffered an internal injury from the backlash. This thin veil of energy actually had this kind of strong defense? Second slash. This slash was even stronger than the previous one and its might had increased by a large amount. Nangong Yun was still meditating with her eyes closed, as if all of this had nothing to do with her. When the tyrannical blade light slashed on the starlight barrier, the veil-like layer of starlight was split apart a little, but with the power of this strike, it was still unable to break through the defense. Yun Zhao was sent flying again. His white face turned completely red. What was going on? After Yun Zhao mastered the 3 lightning blades, it could be said that he was successful in every endeavor, making him feel invincible. However, this woman had dealt a heavy blow to his confidence. How could such a powerful saber technique not be able to break through his defense? I don't believe it. Yun Zhao concentrated all of his strength on the blade. Countless lightning bolts twined around the long and narrow blade. The beautiful blade light soared into the sky and was 4 to 5 feet long. It was like the blade of judgment of a god as it slashed down towards Nangong Yun. Break! Yun Zhao roared. In an instant, all the blood in his body was boiling, as if flames were pouring into his body, making him feel hot all over. At this moment, some kind of potential was awakened. Yun Zhao had received countless elixirs from his family over the years. It was all because he did not work hard that he could not break through. After going through Chu Tian's 3 days of devil training, the spiritual energy that had been stored in Yun Zhao's body had gradually awakened. Now that he was facing Nangong Yun's strong pressure, Yun Zhao finally released his strength. When he slashed out for the 3rd time, he had broken through. He had gone from the peak first awakened soul layer to the second awakened soul layer. His spirit energy had increased by several times and his saber energy had also increased by several times. This shocked the onlookers once again. Even Yun Zhao himself did not expect this. Nangong Yun finally opened her eyes. Facing the lightning that covered the sky, her ruby-like eyes flashed a few times and her lips curled into a faint smile. Finally, a decent attack. The gauze-like starlight around Nangong Yun's body suddenly shrank and condensed, instantly turning into a set of translucent armor that was as dazzling as glass. Starlight glass body. The moment the thunder blade slashed down on the glass body, under the fierce impact, it created several small cracks. However, it could not break through this terrifying defense. Still not strong enough. Nangong Yun gave a loud roar and released a dazzling starlight. The long saber shattered in an instant, and the rebound force sent him flying more than 10 meters away. He fell heavily on the ground and suffered serious internal injuries on the spot. Actually, Nangong Yun had already shown mercy because of Chu Tian's face. Otherwise, Yun Zhao would not have just suffered a simple internal injury. But it had to be said that this saber art was not bad. It could actually break through the starlight glass body. The starlight glass body's defensive strength was hard to break with someone of the same level, and it could even block a higher level attack. Yun Zhao had just broken through to the second awakened soul layer and Nangong Yun was already at the peak second awakened soul layer. Yun Zhao could use his weaker cultivation to break through Nangong Yun's starlight immortal body. Just based on the might of this saber, it would be hard for Yun Xiao to find an opponent in the second awakened soul layer. He never thought that he would break through. Yun Xiao was so excited that he forgot about his pain. He jumped up like a carp and took 3 steps forward. He knelt down on one knee, tilted his head, and cupped his fists. Elder sister's strength is unrivaled. Yun Xiao is convinced of his loss. Please accept this little brother's bow. Nangong Yun placed her hands behind her back and gave off the aura of an elder sister. You're not bad. Since you've come to me, I'll accept you. Yun Xiao quickly bowed. Thank you, elder sister. The onlookers were all stunned. Yun Xiao had really been subdued by Nangong Yun? Yun Xiao's performance today had already made the Central State Academy's people look at him in a new light. He was also the Yun family's eldest grandson. This kind of person with limitless potential was actually willing to become Nangong Yun's little brother? Only he, Yun Xiao, would do this kind of thing. But then again, how strong was this Nangong Yun? Although Nangong Yun had not made a move and no one knew how strong she was, her defensive abilities were strong enough to make people sigh in admiration. Nangong Yun had a fire-attributed god-level source spirit. It was reasonable to say that people who practiced fire-attributed cultivation techniques would have a strong destructive power. A god-level source spirit's effect on a cultivation technique was hard to imagine. When everyone thought of this, they couldn't help breaking out in a cold sweat. Although Nangong Yun's cultivation base was weaker than the other 3 courtyard first-rankers. But Nangong Yun's strength was not weaker than the others. Nangong Yun's strength and Yun Zhao's talent. This was truly a strong combination. The weakest Vermilion Bird courtyard was about to rise. Yun Xiao stood up. Chu Tian gave him a look. Yun Xiao understood and turned to everyone to say, "Many thanks for everyone's support today. Do you want to know why I was reborn? Do you want to know more cultivation techniques and martial arts? I ask everyone to continue paying attention to me. I, Yun Xiao, will not disappoint you." With these words, everyone's nerves tensed up. Could it be that Yun Zhao's sudden increase in strength had a reason? After Yun Xiao said this, he held his waist. It hurt, it hurt, it hurt. If he didn't leave now, he wouldn't be able to pretend anymore. You guys come with me. There were many people here, so it was not convenient to talk. Nangong Yun waved her hand and quickly left. She brought them to a dojo. The dojo was quite big, but it was empty. There wasn't a single person to be seen. This is the territory you bought? When Chu Tian entered the dojo, it was like he had changed into a different person. He took the initiative to walk to the front. What made Yun Xiao feel strange was that Nangong Yun did not have any objections and obediently followed by his side. Nangong Yun wanted to say something, but she stopped herself and looked at Yun Xiao. Chu Tian smiled. There are no outsiders, so there's no need to worry. Nangong Yun's stomach was filled with questions and she couldn't hold it in anymore. She shouted out in an exaggerated manner, "Leader, what are you doing? I wasn't prepared at all. This brat was taught by you, right? Why didn't you tell me? It was very dangerous, don't you know? I almost killed him with a single punch." Yun Xiao trembled in fear. This woman really was a violent maniac. Strange. The two of them actually knew each other. Moreover, this terrifying woman actually called him leader? This young man could even subdue this kind of woman, so what else couldn't he do? No wonder he wanted me to take this which is my leader. This which was his little brother, so after I took this which is my leader, wouldn't he be my leader's leader? His seniority would be even higher than before. I didn't contact you because I was afraid of exposing my identity. Chu Tian looked around the dojo. There were only a few bronze training men and the large hall with the words Qilin Hall. What is going on here? Nangong Yun had a depressed and guilty expression as she said, "Don't mention it. I've been unlucky since I arrived in Central State City. I originally wanted to buy a few factories, but the day before it was fine, the day after, it mysteriously fell through." This was for sure. The large families all knew that Nangong Yun was a member of Miracle Commerce. Since it was like this, how could they not know why Nangong Yun wanted to buy the factories? With several giants obstructing them, how could a normal small to medium-sized company dare to do business with Nangong Yun? With no other choice, I bought this dojo and named it the Qilin Dojo. Moreover, I created a Qilin club in the academy, preparing to store high-quality talents for miracle commerce. The club's development was not bad at first, taking in over 40 people in less than 5 days, but the good times did not last long. In the past week, anyone who joined the Qilin club has been beaten up or threatened, so the growth has slowed down. Moreover, more and more people have left the club and there has even been negative growth. Nan Gongyun's face was filled with worry. She was not stupid. Of course she knew who was playing tricks, but what use was there in knowing? If Nan Gongyun was alone, how could she fight against these fellows? Chu Tian already understood the general situation. After Nan Gongyun came to Central State, everything she did was correct. She tried to buy a factory to pave the way for miracle commerce. Miracle Commerce's production was still very weak and recruiting talents was a strategic reserve. What did Miracle Commerce lack the most? Wasn't it just talents? Whether it was research, production, after-sales, or other services, they all needed large amounts of talents. If Miracle Commerce wanted to grow, it first had to cultivate its own technical team. Chu Tian looked around and thought about something. What kind of existence is this Qilin Club? Central State Academy allows for the existence of various clubs. Normal clubs are created by students with a bit of prestige, forming an organization within the academy. Some are academic and some are commercial. Nan Gongyun pointed at the large signboard in the center of the dojo. I created the Qilin Club and the requirements are very high. You need to be at least in the 9th body refinement layer and you need to be proficient in refining weapons, talismans, or alchemy. There is no membership fee, you can receive free guidance, and you can even receive large amounts of benefits. It is because of this that many people are attracted. This was a club? Chu Tian had a general understanding. Central State Academy had several tens of thousands of students, so they could not directly join the various companies or participate in mercenary activities. Clubs could make up for these gaps. It allowed the students to receive various research projects or receive mercenary missions to earn money. The club itself was a small group for students to exchange pointers with each other. The benefits that Nan Gongyun provided were very high. She did not need to pay anything and as long as she joined, she could receive all kinds of benefits. Moreover, she did not have any restrictions, which was very rare. Even with this, it could be seen how much resistance Nan Gongyun faced in Central State Academy. Chu Tian nodded. You don't need to be discouraged, you've already done what you needed to do. But I haven't done anything. Isn't this Qilin Club the result of your efforts? Chu Tian patted Nan Gongyun's shoulder. You've built a good platform for me, leave the rest to me. Nan Gongyun did not dare believe it. You can bring the Qilin Dojo back to life? That's impossible. This place is already on the verge of collapse. Even if you give them money, no one will come. In Central State Academy, 80% of the aristocratic families were here. Nan Gongyun only had 1 million gold coins. Even if she gave out free money, how much would she receive? The children of the aristocratic families did not lack this bit of money, so they did not need to take the risk of being beaten. There was no need to mention the children of poor families. To enter Central State Academy from poor families, they had to pay a large price and put in a lot of effort. They cherished this opportunity more than the nobles. Because of this, they were timid and cautious, so they would not put themselves in danger. If their legs were broken or their hands were broken, who would support them? Even if they were killed by the nobles, where would they go to seek justice? In a dangerous place like the Qilin Dojo, they could not wait to avoid it. Money is too vulgar. You should think about what the students of Central State Academy really need. Chu Tian confidently said to Nan Gongyun, if you can take out something that a person truly desires as a lure, not to mention joining the Qilin Society, even if there was a fire pit in front of them, there would still be a large number of people that would jump in. Nan Gongyun was stunned. Then what do you mean? Chu Tian turned around and looked at the giant signboard. From today onwards, the Qilin Dojo will be changed to the Qilin Dojo. The dojo and the dojo were two completely different concepts. The dojo was for practicing martial arts. The dojo was for teaching and learning. You're right. Not practicing martial arts and only teaching. Of course there will be a fee. I plan on making the Qilin Dojo the largest training ground in Central State. Chu Tian turned around to look at the two of them. The students of Central State Academy do not need money, but rather knowledge. If we use this as a lure, will there still be people who will come? Simply put, Chu Tian wanted to make a training class that would cost money. Central State was a place with a rich cultivation atmosphere, and there were many private dojos and dojos on the streets. This meant that there was a market for training classes. Chu Tian wanted to teach Yun Xiao. Didn't he want him to advertise? This was a suitable place so he could use it. Nangong Yun revealed a surprised expression. You wouldn't be personally teaching, right? This is not safe. No, I have a better method. Chu Tian revealed a mysterious smile. How many people are there in the Vermilion Bird Courtyard? 41. Nangong Yun added after saying this, although there aren't many people, they are all good seedlings. They can refine pills, forge weapons, and make talismans. Their backgrounds are clean and their backgrounds are clean. Chu Tian nodded in satisfaction. Gather everyone here tonight. When Nangong Yun understood Chu Tian's detailed plan, she revealed a look of surprise. This kind of teaching method Chu Tian could think of, this fellow really was a genius. This was going to be fun. Chapter 141. That night, around 40 people came to the dojo. There were both men and women, all of them quite young. Most of them were injured and some of them had been beaten black and blue. They all had dejected looks on their faces, looking very listless. When Nangong Yun saw this, she immediately frowned and said, "What is going on?" "Elder sister, I'm sorry. I can't take it anymore, I want to leave." A strong young man had a face filled with regret, but when he looked at Nangong Yun, he revealed a look of admiration. He really admired this elder sister. Every time someone bullied him, she would always help him. Only, he had no other choice. Following Nangong Yun would not allow him to have a peaceful day. If he wasn't being challenged, he would be plotted against, and he would even be beaten up by a group. His life was filled with endless troubles. Elder sister had treated him well, but he had no choice but to leave. Nangong Yun had an expressionless face. This was someone ranked in the top 10 of the Vermilion Bird rankings and was one of the most important people in the Qilin Hall. If he wanted to leave, how could Nangong Yun be happy? This person gave a sigh. "I will return everything the dojo gave me, and I am even willing to privately sponsor the dojo, but I really can't stay here anymore. I hope elder sister can understand me. I don't blame you and you don't need to compensate me." Nangong Yun waved her hand. "You can leave." "Thank you, elder sister." He was relieved he was finally free. He quickly left the dojo. Nangong Yun saw that everyone's eyes were avoiding her and their morale was very low, so she loudly asked, "Who else wants to leave? Stand out." A small group of people stood out. There was no lack of people ranked in the 4 great campuses. Nangong Yun did not stop them. "I've already said that the Qilin Hall does not restrict people's freedom. If you can't stay here and want to leave, you can walk out the door at any time." Everyone revealed a look of admiration. But another quarter of them left. There were only around 30 people left in the hall. They all had bruises on their faces and were filled with depression. Their morale was very low and they did not know how many more days they could last. Not bad. There were more people left than they had imagined. Most of this was because Yun Xiao had joined, so it raised their morale. Otherwise, at least half of them would have left. "Everyone sit." Nangong Yun sat cross-legged on the praying mat while Chu Tian and Yun Xiao stood on both sides. These 30 people all sat down. Although there were only 30 people left, each one of them was not simple. The weakest was at the peak 9th body refinement layer and there was no lack of people at the 1st or 2nd awakened soul layer. Not only was Nangong Yun beautiful, but she was also powerful and generous. She was also a genius of the Nangong family, so she had her own charisma. Her development was very fast in the early stages, and at one point, she had nearly 90 members. "Do you regret following me?" "No regrets." Nangong Yun smiled with satisfaction. "Everyone has been wronged, but I am very happy to see so many people persevere. You are all very good, very good. You have passed the test. From now on, You are all officially members of Qilin Hall. Everyone had question marks on their heads. When did the Qilin Dojo become a training hall? Could it be that after so many days, no one had ever joined? Nangong Yun continued, perhaps you don't realize that from this moment on, your fate has already undergone an earth-shattering change. Speaking of this, she rose again. There is an important matter to announce today. Nangong Yun was wearing a red training suit. Her back was straight, her breasts were as firm as bamboo shoots, her buttocks were as round as honey peaches, and her thighs were slender and straight. Her perfect figure, coupled with her straightforward and fiery aura, her eyes were bright and full of expression, and she was full of ambition and passion. She was sexy and wild, and she had the aura of a big sister. I'll ask you first, do you want to become stronger? Everyone looked at each other in blank dismay. Of course we do. Nangong Yun angrily roared, louder. This old lady can't hear you. The elder sister's fierce aura made everyone tremble. They quickly shouted out, yes? Do you want to earn large amounts of gold coins? Yes. Do you want to have a high status and be respected by tens of thousands of people? Yes. Do you want to learn the strongest cultivation technique and bring honor to your ancestors and family? I'll use my actions to tell you that as long as you follow me, anything is possible. Under Nangong Yun's lead, the originally low morale became excited once again. At this time, Yun Xiao and Chu Tian took out a black machine and placed it on the ground. This was a rough-looking steel thing. It was made of two parts. The lower part was a rectangular iron box and the upper part was connected to a trumpet-shaped thing. It was made very roughly and did not look beautiful at all. However, the structure was very compact. It was probably made by a factory using machinery and then manually assembled by hand. From the outside, one could not see anything unusual about it at all. What kind of strange thing was this? Nangong Yun walked to Yun Zhao's side and slapped him heavily. Does everyone know this person? Pain. Yun Xiao felt as if his shoulder was about to shatter. Winning against dozens of people and shocking the world with a single brilliant feat, however, a few days ago, he was just a trash who only knew how to eat, drink, and gamble. How did he suddenly change in such a short period of time? Yun Xiao had an awkward expression. This person's words were too impolite. What did he mean by only knowing how to eat, drink, and gamble? I am still a playboy who is known as the Casanova, alright? Although I agreed to be the boss spokesperson, a spokesperson still has dignity, alright? Yun Zhao's stomach was filled with resentment, but he did not dare vent it out. This female devil beside him was not easy to talk to. The people present had all fought with Yun Xiao before. Not only did Yun Xiao change his body, he had also given them pointers, allowing them to benefit greatly. Could it be that Yun Xiao had become stronger because of a special reason? Nangong Yun saw through everyone's thoughts. Do you want to progress as quickly as him? Do you want to be the center of attention like him? Now is your chance. Everyone became excited in an instant. Was there really a mysterious secret? Nangong Yun pointed at the rough black machine. This thing is your future. Next, I'll ask Lu Rin to introduce it to everyone. Under the eager gazes of the 30 young men and women, a young man walked out. He was wearing a blue robe and had a long sword on his back. If Nangong Yun had not asked him to come out, he would not have had any sense of existence. Chu Tian deliberately kept everyone in suspense. I want to ask everyone, how many of you have heard of Chu Tian before? How many of you have heard of Miracle Commerce? Chu Tian? Miracle Commerce? I know him, he is a legendary young man. The group of young men and women all revealed excited expressions. How could they not have heard of him? The electric lamps that were smuggled from South Sky City were sold for 4-5 times the price. The qi refining pills that were sent from South Sky City were sold for tens of thousands of gold coins. This was the masterpiece of miracle commerce. As for Chu Tian, he was even more amazing. He had beaten up Prince Tianlang and made Wolf King Yi Wudao suffer. He was simply an omnipotent legendary young man. Although he was not a person from Central State City, he had become the idol of countless Central State City youths. There were even people who compared him to the 4 young masters. Chu Tian revealed a faint smile. Since everyone has heard of him, then it's easy to explain. However, you only know that Chu Tian is the chairman of Miracle Commerce, but you don't know that elder sister Nangong Yun is actually a high-level member of Miracle Commerce. Everyone was stunned. This could explain why so many people were against her. Chu Tian returned to the main topic. Every person has unlimited potential. As long as they receive the right guidance, it is not a problem for them to advance 1,000 miles in a single day. It is a pity that geniuses are common, but good teachers are rare. Fate is not fair. Every person is divided into 3, 6, and 9 grades. Some people are born with a golden spoon in their mouths, and some people have nothing. There are countless people with great potential, but because they did not receive the best guidance, they ended up becoming mediocre. That's right. That's right. There were over 100 million people in Central State. Was there really no one that could compare to the 4 young masters? But so what if they had a talent that could compare to the 4 young masters? If they were born low, they might not even have the qualifications to practice a good cultivation technique. Not to mention the large amount of resources and the guidance of the best teachers. Miracle Commerce is best at subverting everything. Chu Tian interrupted everyone's thoughts. This time, Yun Xiao is the first person to benefit from this. There will be a second, a third. Countless others. Everyone felt their blood boiling. Could Yun Xiao's counterattack really be replicated? Chu Tian pointed at the strange machine and said, "This thing is Miracle Commerce's newest masterpiece. It is a large gift that elder sister Nangong Yun has brought to Central State. This is a mysterious phonograph." What kind of strange thing was this? Why had they never heard of it before? This phonograph was something that Chu Tian had drawn based on the pictures in the ancient books. He had Tong Xiaoyu design it, and then he had informed Jing Hao that night. He had Jing Hao use his family's factory to manufacture the parts and assemble a few for use. Because it was done in a hurry, it looked very rough, but it did not affect its functionality. Saying more is useless. Everyone, come and experience it. Chu Tian took out a disc like magic. This disc was made of magnetic sound stone and was around 20 centimeters in diameter. There were runes engraved all over it. Chu Tian showed the magnetic sound stone disc to everyone and then walked over to the phonograph. He carefully placed the disc into the phonograph, perfectly embedding it into a groove. The round groove was also covered in runes. When the runes in the groove and the disc matched, the source energy array on the magnetic sound stone began to glow. Finally, under the effect of spirit energy, it began to slowly spin. ZZ. From the trumpet-shaped thing, there was a burst of noise. From the trumpet, a low and hoarse voice rang out, "Hello everyone." Everyone at the scene was startled. Damn, this machine can talk. Is it a spirit? No, there must be someone hiding inside. I've heard that there are some small races on the continent that can fit into this box. Everyone began to discuss. To them, this scene was simply too unbelievable. Who would have thought that when the magnetic sound stone continued to be installed, the low and deep voice from the phonograph would continue to sound out? Today's class topic is source energy refining skills. The phonograph slowly began to spin. That voice filled the entire hall. There was not a single sound. Everyone's eyes were wide open and their mouths were wide enough to fit an apple. It can't be? It could even teach. Chu Tian used a gear-like device on the side to turn the volume of the simple radio to the max, allowing everyone to hear it clearly. Source energy is the root of a cultivator's strength. There are some cultivators that only know how to increase the amount of spirit energy, but they do not know how to increase the quality of their spirit energy. Quantity is not weight, so in the long run, their spirit energy will become mottled and impurities will accumulate in their meridians, causing damage to their body and causing hidden illnesses. Source energy refining? Was there such a thing? Everyone was attracted by this. Everyone only knew how to wildly increase their spirit energy and make their spirit energy stronger. They had never heard that spirit energy could be refined and that it could bring unexpected benefits. Everyone stopped discussing and held their breaths as they listened. In less than 2 minutes, everyone was deeply immersed in it. This was because this person's lecture was too good. There were countless profound spirit energy and skills that were explained in a simple manner, allowing people to easily understand it. Not to mention the people here. Even Nangong Yun and Yun Xiao were stunned. It was good, it was too good. The Central State Academy's teachers were not even qualified to carry its shoes. This was a true master-level lecturer. The entire class lasted for 45 minutes. The voice in the box spoke in a steady manner, explaining the profound principles in a simple manner. From beginning to end, there was not a single unnecessary word, and each word was just right. Each word hit the nail on the head, and every needle hit the nail on the head. Spirit energy refining does not only increase one's cultivation base, it also increases one's battle strength. It allows one's spirit energy to be more flexible and allows one's cultivation technique to be faster. I hope that everyone will pay attention to the refining of spirit energy and not blindly chase after increasing one's cultivation base. You have to know, haste makes waste. That's all for this class. When the voice disappeared, everyone was still in shock and did not react. It was unknown who was clapping. Everyone seemed to wake up from a dream and quickly began to clap. The applause became louder and louder, becoming more and more intense. It was as if the person in the box could hear it. Excitement. Excitement. The depression from this period of time had been swept away and was replaced with a pleasant surprise. This was a great invention, an epic-making invention. Chapter 142. Everyone's hearts could not calm down for a long time. Why was the box able to speak? But this was no longer important. This box's lecture was just too good. Even the best teacher in Central State Academy could not compare to even 1/100th of it. That outstanding and advanced gaze, that wise and sharp point of view. Perfect, it was too perfect. It would be great if they could hear it again. Everyone began to discuss with each other. Each person had a look of pleasant surprise and excitement on their faces. Because they saw an opportunity. This was a chance to change their destiny. Everyone quiet down. I know the doubts in your hearts, so I'll explain it to you right now. Chu Tian took out the disc and raised it up high, letting everyone see it clearly. This small disc has the ability to store sound. As for this device, it can read the stored sound and play it back. Therefore it is named phonograph. Phonograph? Good name. Good name. After Chu Tian said this, he gently snapped his fingers. Yun Xiao quickly came out with a large plate. There were over 20 magnetic sound discs neatly stacked on top of it. Each disc was personally recorded by Chu Tian. It includes cultivation technique analysis, martial arts guidance, alchemy, talisman, arrays, and other fields. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Do you want to listen to Chu Tian's lecture? Do you want to share Chu Tian's wisdom? Do you want to learn Chu Tian's knowledge? An opportunity bestowed by the heavens is right in front of you. I believe that as long as you study in Qilin Hall for a week, everyone will be reborn and everyone will experience an unprecedented transformation. There is no doubt that this is a place that can change your destiny. Teaching is the main business of Qilin Hall right now. Our business is not limited to this. In the future, as the training hall continues to develop, we will introduce even more special services. We will create cultivation plans and special training for everyone, increasing their strength and cultivation bases. We want to create the strongest training organization in history. Yun Xiao can be reborn. You can do it too. Papa. Everyone's eyes turned red and they all stood up to wildly applaud. How could they not be crazy? Yun Xiao had been reborn in just a few days. He had gone from a useless playboy to a genius. He could do it. Why can't we? Nangong Yun also admired Chu Tian from the bottom of her heart. Although he didn't personally appear to teach everyone, he came up with the idea of creating this phonograph and indirectly teaching by recording the lessons in sound. Not only could it attract talents for miracle commerce, it could also greatly increase its influence, and it could even earn a large sum of money. There were too many benefits, and it was more than just killing 3 birds with 1 stone. I really don't know how he came up with that. As long as Chu Tian recorded 1 copy, he could make thousands of copies. The value that could be created from this could not be measured with money. This temptation was something that all the students could not resist. What's the big deal about giving money? Qilin Hall could give people a brand new future. This would become the most amazing training class in Central State City's history. Nangong Yun looked at the people who were filled with excitement and joy. It was like she could already see the explosive future of Qilin Hall. Perhaps when these people looked back in the future, they would know just how lucky they were to join Qilin Hall. Chu Tian's tone changed. But there's no such thing as a free lunch. All of Qilin Hall's services require a fee. As soon as he said that, everyone calmed down. That's right, Miracle Commerce did not have the obligation to train them for free, and Qilin Hall did not have the obligation to give them benefits for free. Qilin Hall will open many classes in the future and they will all be charged. Currently, each class will be priced from 1 to 500,000 gold coins. What? 1 to 500,000 gold coins? It was just a single class. Even if Yun Tianhe personally taught a class, it would not be this expensive. Chu Tian continued to say, everyone, don't think it's too expensive. The class that you just listened to for free was only the lowest class worth 10,000 gold coins. The higher the fee, the more valuable the content. Sometimes it will even talk about new technology that has not appeared on the continent yet. If you can benefit from it, the value will be 10 times or even 100 times greater. The class that they just listened to was only the lowest class that cost 10,000 gold coins. This was 10 times or 100 times better than any teacher in Central State City. Then how much value would the most expensive class have? This phonograph was something that had never been heard of in Central State City before, so it was already a priceless treasure. This kind of fee was completely reasonable. Of course, you are all senior members of Qilin Hall, so you should receive special treatment. If you want to join Qilin Hall now, you will need to pay 100,000 gold coins. Not only will you be exempted from the 100,000 gold coins membership fee, you will also become an official member of Qilin Hall. You will also enjoy other special benefits. 100,000 gold coins membership fee? Could it be that the people that wanted to join Qilin Hall would have to pay at least 100,000 gold coins? None of the organizations in Central State Academy dared to charge this much. This was just too crazy. Only Qilin Hall members have the qualifications to listen to the middle and high-level classes. Because the training hall has just begun to develop, it urgently needs to expand. Right now, we are opening up a recommendation reward event. For every low-level class, as long as you bring an outsider that has never attended before, you will receive half of the fee. For every person that you recommend to join the training hall, you will receive 50,000 gold coins worth of tuition subsidies. You will also receive a 5% discount on all purchases made in the training hall. If you can recommend 50 people to join the training hall, not only will you receive a large amount of tuition subsidies and an 8% discount, you will also be promoted to a high-level training hall member. All low-level classes will be at half price, and you will also receive the qualifications to buy low-level class discs. If you can recommend 100 people to join the association, not only will you enjoy the privileges mentioned above, you will also receive a 10% cash rebate, a limited edition phonograph, and 5 sets of low-level course discs for free every month. Furthermore, you will also receive the right to open a branch library. This series of benefits caused everyone's eyes to be dazzled. Whether it is inside or outside of Central State Academy, Qilin Hall will treat everyone equally. Everyone can bring their friends, family, and brothers to join. As long as they are not from the Chu, Luo, or Yi families, Qilin Hall will accept them. Chu Tian continued to announce. Do you want to obtain more knowledge? Do you want to earn a large sum of money? Then go and do it. Next, I will announce the class schedule for tomorrow. Yun Xiao came out with a red notice that was as tall as a person and placed it in front of everyone. On the board, there were large golden words that stated the names of the classes. 36 Beginner Alchemy Skills 1, 20,000 yuan. 36 Beginner Symbol Crafting Skills 1, 20,000 yuan. 36 Beginner Combat Martial Skills 1, 20,000 yuan. 81 Beginner Array Skills 1, 30,000 yuan. 30 Beginner Cultivation Techniques 1, 80,000 yuan. The cheapest class here cost 20,000 yuan and the most expensive class cost 80,000 yuan. Everyone noticed that the classes had serial numbers, which meant that it was a complete set of classes. Did they have to listen to several dozen classes for a single class? With such a high price for each class, how much money would it cost to listen to a single class? Everyone did a simple calculation and broke out in a cold sweat. However, they were not afraid, rather they were filled with excitement. Opportunity. This was a giant opportunity. The more classes there were, the more knowledge there would be. If they listened to the entire class, how big of a transformation would they receive? The more money they spent, the more opportunities they would have. As senior members of Qilin Hall, if they recommended people to join, they would be able to enjoy a high discount. If they recommended a rich person, they would be able to learn the entire class. Just the money they would receive would be enough for them to study and cultivate. Those who paid attention would find that these were all beginner basic classes. Then would there be intermediate basic classes, advanced basic classes, and above the beginner basic classes, how many advanced classes were there? Knowledge. It was all knowledge. This was simply a sea of knowledge. Only each type of knowledge required money to buy. Chu Tian's speech ended here. Nangong Yun suppressed the excitement in her heart and her face turned red. She stood up and loudly shouted, "Did you all hear me clearly? Don't say that elder sister doesn't share good things with you. Quickly go. I've already given you the opportunity. Go develop the market, go advertise, and go bring new people to the training hall. Whether you can earn money or not, whether you can make a comeback will all depend on your own skills." Yes. Everyone began to leave. They were like a pack of hungry wolves that couldn't wait to hunt. Nangong Yun pulled Chu Tian to the side. "Boss, aren't you a bit too ruthless? A single class costs several tens of thousands. Will there really be people coming? You have to know that 10,000 gold coins to a normal cultivator is a large sum of money. It's enough for a normal person to live a carefree life." Yun Shao also felt that this fellow Chu Tian was too ruthless. Even a famous grandmaster like his grandfather would not dare to charge this much for a single class. Wasn't this ripping people off? Chu Tian's asking price was too black. And this was only the basic content. A single class would cost at least 1 million, and at most several million. Who would come at this price? The training hall hadn't even opened yet, so there wouldn't be an awkward silence. Who would have thought that Chu Tian would disdainfully say, "What do you know? No matter how much money you spend to listen to father's class, it's not worth it. I want to teach you more advanced content, but you haven't even learned how to crawl. Can you even fly? Don't waste words. Hurry up and tidy up. This place will be very crowded in the next few days." Who told him to be the boss? The two of them could only helplessly do as he said. Since this place was already half dead, it wouldn't be that bad. Actually, the content Chu Tian had recorded was only the most basic of the basics. Chu Tian did not even take out any of his personal items and just followed his memory. He recited all the textbooks from the future and made them into magnetic sound discs. Just like this. He dared to ask for a sky-high price. There was a reason for Chu Tian's confidence. The contents of the textbooks were tens of thousands of years ago, the crystallization of countless scholars. Even the most basic textbooks were written 30,000 years ahead of time. Some of the basic formations, runes, and formulas mentioned in the book were all priceless existences in this era. Was Chu Tian's price expensive? It wasn't expensive at all. Chu Tian had established the Qilin Hall to earn money for himself and to attract talents. He wanted to recruit people for miracle commerce and pave the way for its future development. Of course, although he did not directly show his face, his actions were too big. It would attract the attention of many families in Central State and all kinds of troubles could not be avoided. Chu Tian had already prepared his heart. What would come, when was he afraid? Chapter 143. Zhao Kun left Qilin Hall and was filled with excitement as he walked back. The phonograph was an epic-making invention, perhaps even more creative than the electric light. The lessons recorded in these magnetic sound discs were more than a few thousand years ahead of the academy, causing Zhao Kun to be shocked. He could not wait to listen to all the lessons. I thought it was strange. How did that bastard Yun Xiao improve so quickly? If I had this kind of resources, I wouldn't lose to this guy at all. It was just that Zhao Kun was born in a poor family and did not have the support of a wealthy family. Such expensive tuition fees, even if he sold his pots and pans, he would not be able to afford it. Zhao Kun was not willing to fall behind others. You can't die from holding in your urine. There must be a way. The surrounding curtain of night shook a few times, and several figures suddenly jumped out, instantly surrounding Zhao Kun. Not good. Zhao Kun turned his head and wanted to escape. Hee. I've waited so long for you. This fierce-looking man stood in front of him with a cold expression. The other 6 people also had powerful auras. They were all experts with extraordinary strength. Wang Meng, what are you doing? Wang Meng was ranked 26th on the Azure Dragon leaderboard, while Zhao Kun was ranked 26th on the Vermilion Bird leaderboard. On the surface, their rankings were the same, but Wang Meng was much stronger than Zhao Kun. Of the 4 campuses of Central State Academy, the Vermilion Bird Courtyard was the weakest. The experts on the Vermilion Bird ranking could not compare to the other 3 rankings. Before Wang Meng cracked his knuckles and popping sounds came from his knuckles. He revealed a fiendish smile as he looked at him. I've already warned you not to go to the Qilin dojo. What was the result? You treat my words as farts. If I don't give them a taste of suffering, who will listen to me in the future? Damn it, they really came to look for trouble. Wang Meng alone was hard enough to deal with, not to mention the number of people on the other side. Boss, why are you talking nonsense with him? Beat him until he can't stand and pee. Let's see if he still dares to disobey. Wang Meng's brothers were eager to try. Withdrawing is impossible. Zhao Kun also threw caution to the wind, his face full of determination as he roared, my rotten life is worthless. Take it if you can. Wang Meng was puzzled. Are you constipated? Wasn't it just quitting the club? It's as if you want to kill your own father. Is there a need to do this? You know nothing. How dare you talk to me like that? Wang Meng flew into a rage and was about to attack. Zhao Kun suddenly had an idea and shouted, Wang Meng, why didn't you use your brain to think about it? Why did Yun Xiao suddenly become famous in the Vermilion Bird Courtyard? Why did Yun Xiao publicly join Qilin Hall after being in the limelight? He is advertising for Qilin Hall. Wang Meng was confused. Advertisements? What advertisement? Yun Xiao has been reborn after studying in Qilin Hall for 3 days. Even you wouldn't be able to block 2 slashes from him now. Is it true? Wang Meng was shocked. You don't believe me? Zhao Kun's eyes flashed. How about we make a deal? Qilin Hall has a few classes tomorrow and I recommend you attend. 1 class costs 20,000 gold coins. Wang Meng was furious. 20,000 gold coins for a lesson. This bastard is treating me like a fool. Everyone charge. Beat him up. Zhao Kun also threw caution to the wind. I will help you. Wang Meng was stunned again. 20,000 gold coins. Although it wasn't a lot of money, it wasn't a small amount. At the very least, a normal body refinement cultivator would not be able to take out this much money. Even for awakened soul cultivators like them, 20,000 gold coins was enough to buy an elixir to increase their cultivation. Zhao Kun said, I'll help you pay for it. If you're satisfied, then you can return the money to me. If you're not satisfied, then I won't give you a single cent. Was this true or false? Everyone stared at each other with wide eyes. 20,000 gold coins for a lesson, this kind of fee was close to the top scholars in Central State. Could there be a mysterious expert hidden in Qilin Hall? Thinking about Yun Zhao's changes over the past 2 days, this was completely possible. Brother Meng, what do we do? I think we can give it a try. After all, Yun Zhao's changes are too strange. Since this fool is paying, let's join in the fun. Wang Meng and his brothers were filled with curiosity. It was just like what Chu Tian had said. To the Central State Academy students, knowledge was far more enticing than money. Alright, we'll give it a try. If I find out that you're speaking nonsense, Father will beat you until you can't piss your pants. Zhao Kun let out a sigh of relief. They had finally escaped this calamity. Wang Meng led his brothers away. When they returned to the Azure Dragon courtyard, there were many students discussing something. Did you hear? A mysterious treasure has appeared in Central State Academy. Treasure? What treasure? It's something called a phonograph. It can record everything a person says into it, and it's said that there are people on the level of a grandmaster that are using this to spread their lessons. Is this true or false? You don't believe me, I saw it with my own eyes. There are even rumors saying that Yun Xiao was reborn because he had been trained there. Is this true or false? How about we go and take a look? Wang Meng and the others were stunned. That brat really wasn't speaking nonsense. In just a short night, the news had spread throughout Central State Academy. When the disciples of Qilin Hall returned home, they tried to convince their friends and family members, trying to win them over. Winning people over not only brought them benefits, it also brought them unexpected surprises. With Qilin Hall's resources, it was inevitable for them to rise, so the earlier they joined, the better. Phonograph? What was that? They had never heard of it before. With several dozen mouths spreading it, it became even more mysterious. How could a machine speak? What nonsense! What kind of principle was the phonograph made? Another even more important piece of news was spread. Yun Xiao being reborn and reaching the second rank of the Vermilion Bird rankings was also because of this. How could this be? Everyone began to ask around and find the source, the Vermilion Bird Academy's Qilin Hall. This was a normal training hall, but it had a series of classes. The fees were so high that it made people's hair stand on end. But with Qilin Hall's high price and Yun Xiao's image as their spokesperson, as well as the mysterious phonograph, with these two big gimmicks and the recommendation of the training hall's members, people couldn't help being skeptical. There were some rich people that decided to give it a try. The next morning, it was the first day of business for Qilin Hall. What kind of training hall is this? Wang Meng walked into the simple Qilin Hall and looked around. They actually have the nerve to run a business like this? Zhao Kun was too lazy to care about him and went to pay the fees. This way please. There were a total of 5 classes today and 3 of them cost 20,000 gold coins. Zhao Kun's class was 30 kinds of Foundation Martial Arts 1. The training hall was very big and there were 20 to 30 prayer mats. Currently, there were only around 10 people. Most of them were familiar faces and there were only a few unfamiliar faces. Yun Xiao gave a yawn and walked out while digging his earwax. Sit properly. Sit properly. Everyone be quiet. Everyone instantly shut their mouths. After he became famous in the academy, no one dared to offend him anymore. Yun Xiao's appearance in Qilin Hall had undoubtedly confirmed the rumors and filled the newcomers with anticipation. He took out a heavy phonograph and placed it in the center. Prepare yourselves. It's starting. Yun Xiao carefully placed a magnetic sound stone in and activated the phonograph array. It began to operate and a noise came from the loudspeaker. Z, Z, Z. The entire training hall was silent. No one blinked and they all pricked up their ears to listen. Finally, a low and clear voice came from the loudspeaker. Hello everyone. Wang Meng and the others who were listening for the first time all opened their eyes wide in shock, as if they had seen a ghost. This was too mysterious. This rough and heavy machine could really speak by itself. For these people who lived in this era, even if they broke their heads, they still wouldn't know what was going on. Today's class is the first of the 36 kinds of Foundation Martial Arts. Fighting ability is a quality that a cultivator must have, so how can you effectively increase your fighting ability? Have you already displayed your strongest battle strength? Today's class will discuss this problem through Foundation Martial Arts. The disc slowly turned on the phonograph. At this moment, time seemed to freeze. Everyone had the same expression on their faces. That low and deep magnetic voice came from the flower-shaped loudspeaker. From different angles, it analyzed the essence of martial arts and introduced a few very practical battle techniques. It even explained the classical martial arts taught in the academy, breaking them down and improving them one by one. Wang Meng's surprise gradually turned into a pleasant surprise before finally turning into shock. He was originally filled with disdain. What was so good about learning foundation martial arts? Wasn't this the same routine for thousands of years? Even if it was explained and improved, would it be able to soar to the sky? After listening to the detailed explanation from the phonograph, Wang Meng realized for the first time that there were actually so many unbelievably profound techniques in foundation martial arts. What was called 10,000 transformations return to the origin? What was called the Great Tao is the simplest. These seemingly simple martial arts were harder to innovate and improve. Wang Meng only realized at this moment that the foundation martial arts that he had painstakingly trained for so many years were worse than trash. It was simply full of loopholes. Unbelievable. Unimaginable. The more Wang Meng listened, the more excited he became. The more he listened, the more shocked he became. The voice from the phonograph was like an extremely experienced master. Not a single word was nonsense. Every word contained wisdom, and every theory far surpassed the thousands of years of knowledge in books. This was a brand new foundation martial arts system. Wang Meng was overwhelmed with emotions at this moment. It was as if he had discovered a new continent. Today's class will end here. If you want to know more, please pay attention to the second broadcast of the 36 kinds of foundation martial arts. In the second broadcast, we will introduce a few classical movement techniques that will allow you to advance and retreat freely in battle. Goodbye, everyone. It's over? How could it be over? Why is it over? Continue broadcasting. Wang Meng stood up. I'll pay. Yun Xiao carelessly sat beside the phonograph and glanced at him. Fuck, you can listen as long as you pay. Do you think you're listening to a play in a brothel? Scram. Wang Meng forcefully scratched his head. This was too torturous. Because the lecture was too good, most of the time he was in a shocked state. When he came back to his senses, the lecture was already over and he did not remember much of the content. It had to be known. The master's lecture seemed very simple, but it actually contained a lot of information. It was worth carefully studying. Zhao Kun stood up with a notebook in his hand. You wrote down notes? Wang Meng glanced at the notebook and saw that it was densely packed. He was like a man who had eaten several pounds of aphrodisiac and saw a naked beauty. He excitedly jumped up and reached out to grab it. Quick! Let me see it. This master has many theories and hidden knowledge. I will need to study it for a few days before I can fully understand it. Why should I give it to you? Zhao Kun did not give him any face. Do you know how much this knowledge is worth? The money for today's lecture was even paid for by me. Wang Meng loudly roared, Fuck? What does 20,000 gold coins count for? Can this be measured with money? You're fucking vulgar. You want money, right? Father has money. I'll give you 100,000 to buy your notebook. Quickly let me see it. I want it too. Me too. My family has money, let me see it first. The people Wang Meng brought all gathered around him. Wang Meng's eyes almost popped out. Are you rebelling? Who is the boss? Scram for me. Wang Meng's prestige was very high. If he said one, no one dared to go against him. Of course, that was normal. Today's development had far surpassed anyone's expectations. Young Master Wang Meng is too arrogant. I've been unhappy with you for a long time. We will be Qilin Hall's people in the future, so we need to draw our boundaries. That's right, this fellow has beaten up Qilin Hall's people, so we don't want to be associated with you. Humph, daring to beat up Qilin Hall's people is the same as beating up our fellow citizens. We will never coexist with you from now on. Wang Meng was about to explode with anger. These grandsons were burning bridges after crossing the river. When we beat up Qilin Hall's members, didn't you all have a part in it? Now that you've wiped your butts and left, it's fine if you betray us, but you still want to put shit on father's head. What is this? If he couldn't join Qilin Hall because of this matter, wouldn't that be asking for his life? Chapter 144. Yes. He was the one who beat me last time. Several senior Qilin Hall elders came over with faces filled with anger. How could they let this go? This fellow had taken the lead to beat up Qilin Hall students. It was fine if he didn't find elder sister Nangong to beat him up, But this fellow actually came to the training hall to listen to a lecture. Wang Meng's expression changed. Wait, it was a misunderstanding. I was also bewitched by others, so I did such a stupid thing. Cut the crap and chase him out. Get lost. You're not welcome here. Wang Meng was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. It would have been fine if he was rejected by a normal training hall, but the knowledge he could learn in Qilin Hall could definitely change his fate. How could he be willing to give up like this? I'll compensate you for your mental damage and medical expenses. If it still doesn't work, I'll let you guys beat me up. As long as I don't die or become crippled, I'll endure it. Wang Meng threw caution to the wind. All right, everyone, don't be angry. Zhao Kun saw that everyone was filled with righteous indignation and immediately came out to be the peacemaker. Since he is willing to compensate us, then let him compensate us. Right now is the time for Qilin Hall's expansion, so turning enemies into friends is a good thing. Wang Meng was sweating profusely as he nodded repeatedly. Everyone will be a family from now on. If anyone dares to go against Qilin Hall, then they will be going against me, Wang Meng. Zhao Kun had quite a bit of influence in Qilin Hall, so everyone gave him some face. You want to join the guild? Zhao Kun's gaze swept across the few of them. Then pay the membership fee of 100,000 gold coins first. Membership fee of 100,000 gold coins? That was indeed a little high. He had never heard of any dojo that dared to charge such a high entrance fee. Do you think you'll lose out by paying 100,000 yuan? Let me tell you. Qilin Hall's newest benefit. Out of the 100,000 gold coins, 50,000 gold coins will be deposited in the Qilin Gymnasium as your tuition fees. In the future, your tuition fees will be directly deducted from these fees. From now on, the full amount of the membership fee you pay every month will be deposited into your tuition fees. Anyway, it's money that has to be spent. After you become a member, you'll be qualified to listen to the intermediate and advanced courses. Is it expensive? Wang Meng said, It's not expensive. Not expensive. Too cheap. I'll pay. A membership fee of 100,000. 50,000 of them would be given to the introducer as a subsidy, and the other 50,000 would be used as his own tuition fees. In the future, a minimum of 5% of the tuition fees would be returned to the introducer. Zhao Kun did some calculations. This time, he recommended 7 people to join the association. Wouldn't that mean that he had earned 350,000 yuan in tuition fees? These fellows were all born in large families, so each one of them had a lot of money. In the future, they would have to spend a lot of money in Qilin Hall, so wouldn't they have a steady stream of passive income? Other than that, with the knowledge obtained from Qilin Hall, as long as he studied it at home, he could sell it outside or use other methods to exchange it for money. If that was the case, this Qilin Hall was not only a place to cultivate, it was also a good place to start a business. If Zhao Kun could recommend 100 people to join, not only would he obtain a higher percentage of returns, he would also obtain the right to open a branch library. When Zhao Kun thought of this, his blood started to boil. Weren't you worried about not having enough money yesterday? Now it seemed like Qilin Hall was not only a springboard for him to change his fate, it was also a great cause that was worth fighting for. The latest benefits. Yun Xiao walked out with a lazy expression. According to Elder Sister's research, we've made a decision. Qilin Hall will have a free open class every month that only official members can enjoy. Other than that, normal members will have a 20% discount. Our Qilin Hall is only open for the first time and our resources are very limited, so we will be recruiting a limited number of people. If you're late, there won't be any left. If you don't join now, there won't be any spots left. What? There was a limited number of people? Why didn't you say so earlier? What did 100,000 gold coins count for? Wang Meng's group anxiously rushed over and slapped several gold coin cards on the table. Their faces turned red as they handed them over. I want to join Qilin Hall right now. I'll save 500,000 gold coins first. Everyone rushed forward, striving to be the first. The popularity of this scene far surpassed their expectations. Yun Zhao's heart was secretly filled with joy. Boss really had foresight. He and Nangong Yun were worried about the awkward atmosphere, but the number of people joining far surpassed their expectations. Gut. If this trend continued, he and his elder sister would be able to take 10% of the income, which would be a terrifying number. He pretended to not care. What are you so anxious for? One by one. Line up. Over 10 people lined up to join Qilin Hall. The lowest one paid 100,000 gold coins and the highest one directly took out all of their money to strengthen their determination to join Qilin Hall. This was truly ironic. Wang Meng had received a bribe from someone before. He had brought people to beat up Qilin Hall's members and tried to destroy Qilin Hall's development. In the end, he had been brought by Zhao Kun for a lesson and changed sides without any hesitation. This was the charm of knowledge. This was the power of knowledge. It was hard to resist and it made people go crazy. Nangong Yun counted the numbers at night and was so excited that she almost spat out a mouthful of blood. There were a total of 5 lessons today and we gained over 30 members. We earned over 3 million gold coins in membership fees and over 1 million gold coins from the lessons. There were even a few people who directly deposited several 100,000 gold coins. Our total income today is over 7 million gold coins. They had earned over 7 million gold coins in a single day. Yun Xiao almost fainted from fright. This was only the first day. Qilin Hall's influence had not been completely released yet, but the number of members had already doubled and they had earned a large amount of money. If this continued to develop, wouldn't it be terrible? After Chu Tian obtained this number, he gave a satisfied nod. It's a bit better than what I imagined. Keep working hard tomorrow. We'll only accept 300 people for the first period and we'll raise the threshold a bit. I don't want any random cat or dog to come in. Especially the fellows from the 3 great families. Nangong Yun nodded. You can be assured. Yun Xiao, go and tell your sister that we'll be in trouble and might even be in danger. Tell her to keep an eye on the people from the 3 great families and report to me if anything strange happens. Understood. After seeing Chu Tian's miraculous way of making money, how could the 2 of them not admire him? They had never seen this kind of scene before. Everyone was rushing to give him money, as if they would miss out on a spot if they were a step late. On the second day, Qilin Hall's situation was even more lively than yesterday. There were over 100 people who came to Qilin Hall to listen to the lessons, but Qilin Hall's recruitment standards had been raised. They did not accept those who were too old, they did not accept those who were too weak, and they did not accept those from the 3 great families. In the end, they only accepted half of the people. That day's total income reached 8 million gold coins. The people who were not accepted were all anxious. It was a good thing that Qilin Hall did not have any high-level classes. Outsiders could still attend the normal classes, but they did not have as many benefits. This was not a long-term plan. Those who did not have enough strength quickly went home and found people who met the requirements. No matter what, they had to occupy a spot first. There were even some people who persuaded their families to leave the 3 great families and join the Yun family. They just wanted to join Qilin Hall as soon as possible. In just a short 2 days, Qilin Hall's total income was 15 million gold coins. The Yun siblings took 10%, Tong Xiaoyu and Jing Hao took 10%, Nangong Yun took 10%, and another 10% was reserved for the development of the hall. The rest was taken by Chu Tian. Not bad. His pockets were bulging again. This was not enough. Chu Tian did not have to worry about money anymore. When Qilin Hall's first batch of people was filled, Chu Tian would have enough money to buy the elemental source stone. In this period of time, the Qilin Hall members were like a pack of wolves, searching for food all day long. Whether it was in the academy or outside, as long as they did not belong to the 3 great families and met the requirements, they would all be sent to Qilin Hall. Since they could give others an unexpected surprise and also bring benefits to themselves, why wouldn't they do it? This kind of viral marketing had spread in less than a week. There were over 300 Qilin Hall members and it was almost full. The small hall was already filled to the brim. Their total income was over 40 million gold coins. Even if they didn't give the money to their partners, it was still enough to satisfy Chu Tian's needs. This week's profit had already surpassed the total profits of Miracle Commerce. This did not mean that Miracle Commerce's profits were low, but rather that Qilin Hall's development had a ceiling. Qilin Hall's standards were very high. They had to have a certain cultivation base, a skill, and they had to be young and have potential. In this week's time, the 4 ranked disciples had joined in almost half a day. Their development speed would definitely slow down in the future and knowledge was limited. If Chu Tian wanted to maintain Qilin Hall's attraction, he had to constantly update his knowledge. Since they had already earned enough money, in order to maintain the quality of Qilin Hall, Chu Tian temporarily stopped accepting members. Those who were slow to react could only beat their chests in regret. Other than that, the strong rise of Qilin Hall had attracted the attention of many powers in Central State. The 4 campuses were filled with geniuses from the 4 great families, so it was impossible for the 4 great families not to know about Qilin Hall's glory. Not to mention the fact that Qilin Hall had given a hard and fast rule. The Chu, Yi, and Luo families were not allowed to join. This was clearly making things difficult for the 3 great clans. The boss of Qilin Hall on the surface was Miracle Commerce's Nangong Yun, so it was not hard to imagine the cause and effect. Although they did not know what was so special about Qilin Hall that it could rise in such a short period of time, how could the 3 great families turn a blind eye to an enemy that had risen so quickly? Because of this, the 3 great families sent out messengers and held a secret meeting to discuss countermeasures. From the speed of Qilin Hall's growth, trying to interfere or threaten them would not be effective. This was because there were too many people from small and medium-sized families joining. They had already formed a group and could resist the pressure of the 3 great families. What are you afraid of? Central State City is our territory. Qilin Hall only has the Yun family secretly supporting them. If the 3 of us work together, even if we blow up Qilin Hall, what can the Yun family do to us? We'll do it together. Each of our 3 families will send out an expert and will use violence to solve it. In short, we can't let them grow any stronger. Not only that, we will also steal their things. As Miracle Commerce became stronger and stronger in South Sky City, the 3 great families felt like there was a blade on their backs. However, with Shen Fengho's appearance, they could not directly go to Central State to find trouble with Chu Tian. Therefore, the 3 great families could only create news in Central State and pour mud on Chu Tian. They wanted to destroy Chu Tian's image before his influence spread to Central State. However, how many days had it been? Miracle Commerce's influence used this method to gradually take root in Central State City, and Chu Tian had not even made an official appearance yet. Qilin Hall's strategic value far surpassed its economic value. Qilin Hall gathered over 100 disciples of the small and medium-sized families in Central State, with many talents in various fields. Compared to money, Miracle Commerce lacked people more. Other than lacking people, they lacked supporters even more. Once Qilin Hall matured, with Miracle Commerce's backing, it would become a natural talent reserve for Miracle Commerce. Because of this, there would be hundreds of small and medium-sized families that would support them. It had to be said that Miracle Commerce's move was correct. It could be considered killing many birds with one stone, solving several difficult problems. This was a foundation for entering Central State City. From this move, the 3 great families realized that Miracle Commerce was preparing to enter the main city. Their speed was just too fast. The company had only been established for 2 months and they actually wanted to leave South Sky City to develop in the main city, no matter the cost. Before Qilin Hall could expand, they had to completely kill them. Not only did they have to destroy them, they also had to take away their core technology. This was the territory of the 4 great families, so what could they do even if they went too far? Rather than dragging things out, it was better to settle things in one step and use the most direct and violent methods to achieve their goal. This would show their swift and decisive methods and merciless attitude. Chapter 145. While the 3 great families were making their secret decisions, the Central State Academy was holding an emergency meeting. Yun Tianhe had arrived early and was sitting in the vice principal's seat. Central State Academy had 3 principals, 1 principal and 2 vice principals. The principal was an official position. After all, Central State Academy was an official institution of Southern Xia. Therefore, Central State Academy was managed by the two vice principals. Although the principal had a higher position, he did not participate in the daily management of the academy. Only when there was an important matter would he appear to preside over it. This emergency meeting was called by the principal, and he requested everyone to come to the training hall. Yun Tianhe's eyes swept over the other people present. They were all old fellows, and they all had serious expressions on their faces, as if they had encountered a very troublesome problem. Only Yun Tianhe had a relaxed expression. The recent events had made Yun Tianhe filled with pleasant surprises. The Sir Principal has arrived. A 40 to 50-year-old middle-aged man walked in. He was wearing a sapphire jade crown and was wearing a green robe embroidered with purple patterns. On the outside was a milky white silk jacket. His face was dark, and he had a square face with a small beard, giving people a rigid feeling. Among the Central State Academy's joint principals, Yun Tianhe was the managing principal. He was in charge of the academic affairs and had a very big reputation. After all, Yun Tianhe had a very high status in the Central State academic world, but Central State Academy was an official institution. A local family head could not completely replace the academy. Feng Yunhu was the Central State Academy's principal. Feng Yunhu was the Central State City Vice Mayor and also the Central State Academy's principal. His brother Feng Yunlong was the mayor. The reason why the two of them had such a high status was because their clan brothers were the famous Shen Fengho and Feng Yuntian. Everyone stood up and bowed. Greetings to the principal. Feng Yunhu walked in front of the principal's seat and looked over everyone as he asked, "Is everyone here?" "It seems like Vice Principal Shin isn't here yet." "Humph. She's used to doing things her own way. How could she be late for such an important meeting?" As soon as he said this, the temperature in the meeting room dropped. Everyone felt a strong cold current coming from the hallway. It was bone-chilling and incomparably cold. Even the teapots on the table were covered in a thin layer of frost. A woman walked in. Everyone felt a suffocating coldness. Wherever this woman appeared, everything around her would be frozen. That simple black gauze dress made her snow-like skin appear even whiter and more tender. Her temperament was graceful and noble, and her figure was also mature and plump. From her appearance, she looked less than 30 years old. That pair of eyes that were as cold as the night emitted a cold light. There was not a trace of a smile on her fair and beautiful face. Her entire face looked like it was in the middle of winter. Cold. This woman gave off the feeling of coldness. That kind of indifference and callousness was like the glaciers in the polar regions, which would not melt even after 10,000 years. Feng Yunhu had just complained when the other party appeared. He couldn't help feeling a bit awkward, and he waved his sleeves. "Vice Principal Chen is here. Please sit, our meeting is about to begin." The black-veiled woman did not say a word. She did not place Feng Yunhu in her eyes at all as she walked to her seat and sat down. Feng Yunhu was already used to this, so he was not angry. "Everyone, today I have an important matter to announce. The once every 5 years Central State trial is about to begin. Each time, 10 youths will participate, and according to the rules, the 4 great families will each have 1 spot. The other 6 spots will be decided in the upcoming Central State Academy Great Competition. The Central State Academy Great Competition is held once every 5 years and is extremely important. Not only is it a stage for the Central State Academy students to display their skills, it is also related to the benefits of the academy. I believe that after working hard for so long, the various academies have already selected the most outstanding young geniuses. But I think that this is just a Central State Academy internal competition. This is a bit too small. It is not good for the youths to broaden their horizons and hone their strength." Everyone's expression changed. Could it be that the principal wanted to change the rules? This was a big matter. Feng Yunhu continued to say, "Because of this, I propose to make a few minor adjustments. The 4 academies will choose several groups of participants, and we will choose 2 more groups from the young cultivators of Central State City to participate in the great competition. This will let the youths that have been raised in the academy see the style of the Jianghu and also give the other youths of Central State City a chance to display their skills." The principal would not change the rules for no reason. There had to be a reason. There were many high-level members of the Chu, Luo, and Yi families present. This kind of change did not have any benefits to them because the addition of foreign participants would increase the pressure of competition. Perhaps it would affect the competition between the various academies' disciples. Although the possibility was not high, it was not a guarantee. 2 principals. Feng Yunhu did not wait for the others to speak before asking, "Do you have any objections?" The black-veiled woman softly said, "No." Yun Tianhe did not care. Those spots did not have anything to do with his Yun family, so he could not rely on Yun Xiao. Although he had been reborn, it was not very likely for him to enter the top 6. Adding 2 more groups compared to the 20 groups of people in the academy does not have much of an impact, so we might as well give it a try. Alright. Since the 2 principals have no objections, then we will immediately implement it. Feng Yunhu did not give the others a chance to object. Seeing that the 3 principals had agreed, even if the others had objections, they did not dare say anything. They could only silently agree to this modification. It was just adding 2 more groups of people. This should not have any effect on them. It's settled then. After Feng Yunhu solved the most important matter, he said with a serious face, "There's also another matter. I've received some feedback in the past few days that the academy has a large-scale practice of skipping classes. The people who are skipping classes are all high-ranked students. With the great competition around the corner, what kind of scandal is this? Don't you want to give me an explanation?" Everyone stared at each other with wide eyes. "I've already investigated the reason why these students are skipping classes." A high-level member of the Luo family quickly said, "They went to a dojo to listen to a lecture." What a big joke! Feng Yunhu was not in the academy often, so he did not understand the academy's situation. Since when can a random dojo compete with Central State Academy? This kind of place that affects the students' studies should be banned immediately. Yun Tianhe gave 2 awkward coughs. "Principal, this matter needs to be discussed and we still need to investigate it. This Qilin dojo does not have any good points." Feng Yunhu looked at Yun Tianhe with dissatisfaction. "Old Yun, you are the most knowledgeable person here, so how could you not understand Central State Academy's background? Don't think that I don't know that the founder of this dojo is actually a small Nangong family disciple. What kind of great achievements can he have? These students usually form clubs and work all day long, which I don't approve of. Now that they have even abandoned their cultivation, this matter must be thoroughly investigated." Qilin Dojo could suddenly rise in such a short period of time. This was 100% related to that mysterious youth. Yun Tianhe had investigated everything. The fellow named Lu Ren was most likely the famous ghost genius Chu Tian. After Yun Tianhe investigated his true identity, his heart couldn't help feeling a bit worried. Chu Tian's reputation in Central State was not small and it was mostly fierce and evil. His fierce reputation came from his own fighting. His evil reputation came from the 3 great clans. This youth had an unprecedented talent, but he had a deep grudge with the 3 great clans, making him as dangerous as a barrel of gunpowder. If Feng Yunhu investigated Qilin Dojo, it would be hard to guarantee that Chu Tian's identity would not be exposed. Yun Tianhe stood up and said, "All right, then this old man will personally make a trip. As far as I know, an important member of Qilin Dojo is your grandson Yun Xiao." Feng Yunhu softly said, "In order to avoid suspicion, old Yun will not personally deal with this matter. I think. How about Vice Principal Chen make a move?" Yun Tianhe's expression changed. "What? Let her make a move?" Everyone's eyes fell onto the other principal. If Yun Tianhe was a scholar, then Chen Bingyu was a martial artist. Chen Bingyu was the youngest of the 3 principals. She was not even 40 years old and her cultivation base was unfathomable. She was cold the entire day, just like a piece of ice. She gave off a cold aura that repelled people 1,000 miles away. She had been sitting cross-legged with her eyes closed since the beginning of the meeting, as if nothing had anything to do with her. When Chen Bingyu slowly opened her eyes, The temperature of the entire meeting room dropped by several degrees. Feng Yunhu was a bit afraid of this woman, so he did not dare force her to do anything. He only asked in an inquiring tone, "What does Vice Principal Chen think?" Chen Bingyu was silent for 2 seconds before coldly saying, "All right." Yun Tianhe's forehead was covered in cold sweat. "It's over." Chen Bingyu's nickname was the Ice Queen. Just like her name, her personality was like ice and she was as overbearing as a king. When Chen Bingyu did things, she was very direct and did not like to waste time. She was a good friend of Shen Fengho and Feng Yuntian. With Shen Fengho's recommendation, Chen Bingyu had become the vice principal. In the entire central state city, other than Shen Fengho and Feng Yuntian, there was basically no one with a higher cultivation base than her. Even Yun Tianhe was inferior in comparison. If this woman wanted to take over Qilin Hall, even Yun Tianhe could not stop her. Chen Bingyu slowly stood up and turned to walk out the door. Feng Yunhu's lips curled into a faint smile. "Old Yun, with Vice Principal Chen's abilities, do you still not believe in her? Let her go." Feng Yunhu seemed to have the intention of going against Qilin Hall. Yun Tianhe left the meeting room. Yun Yao quickly ran over. "Grandfather, I've received news that the 3 great families are going to deal with Lu Ren." Yun Tianhe cut her off. "Let's not talk about this for now. Qilin Hall's situation is not good. Quickly send a message to the little mister. Chen Bingyu will come to cause trouble for them today." What? Yun Yao felt like her head had been smashed by a hammer. "Then aren't they finished? I can't personally make a move. Quickly send a message to Chu Tian." Yun Tianhe anxiously said, "You have to be fast. Otherwise it will be too late. That woman is cold and ruthless. She will not listen to reason. Let Chu Tian prepare his heart." He had caused a large problem. Yun Yao quickly rushed over to Qilin Hall. When she found out that Chu Tian was meditating, she directly pulled him out and said to his face, "Close the training hall for a few days and hide." Chu Tian asked in a curious voice, "What is this? You want me to keep an eye on the 3 great families? There is already news that the 3 great families will send people and they will use violence to destroy the hall." Chu Tian had an indifferent expression. "Don't I have you?" Yun Yao was still an expert in the 4th awakened soul layer, and Chu Tian did not believe that the people sent by the 3 great families would be stronger than Yun Yao. Yun Yao said to Chu Tian with an anxious expression, "I can help you block the people from the 3 great families. But there is another large character that has been alerted. This person, I can't block them. Even if grandfather comes, he can't block them. Even old man Yun can't block them? Who is this strong? Nonsense. Have you heard of the Ice Queen? She is considered to be an expert second only to Shen Fengho in Central State City. It can't be. I don't have any grudges with her. Why would she find trouble with me?" The hall had only been open for a week and they had encountered such a troublesome matter. This was truly a bad start. Forget about the people from the 3 great families. That woman was not easy to deal with. If she made a move without any explanation, they might not be able to block her and Qilin Hall would be completely destroyed. Closing the hall is not a good plan. We can hide for a while, but we can't hide forever. Chu Tian's eyes sparkled a few times. "I have a plan that is a bit risky, but we can give it a try. If we succeed, the hall will have another layer of protection and we won't have to worry about this kind of matter ever again." Yun Shao was completely speechless. What was this fellow's brain thinking? Did he know how terrifying Chen Bingyu was? Chapter 146. Chen Bingyu walked in front of Qilin Hall. She was wearing a black robe, a large hood, and a veil. Her aura was completely restrained, making it hard for others to see that she was a peak true soul realm expert. There were several hundred students gathered in front of Qilin Hall. Selling notes. Selling notes. It's the latest notebook that's been circulating. It's only 500 gold coins per book. Several clever youths were holding a large pile of manuals as they shouted at the entrance of the Qilin Taoist temple. Immediately, a large group of nearby students surrounded them. "Give me one. I want one too. I want basic alchemy. Give me a copy of Basic Formation 3. A large group of students ran over. Most of them were in the body refinement realm, but because they didn't have the qualifications to enter Qilin Hall or because they were poor, they could only buy notes to study. Chen Bingyu knit her brows and revealed a trace of anger. How could Qilin Hall have the qualifications to teach students? Wasn't this just misleading the students? That last Nangong Yun was too unreliable. What Feng Yunhu didn't know was that Chen Bingyu had a hidden identity. She had a deep relationship with the Nangong family. Although not many people knew of this identity and it wasn't convenient for it to be revealed, Feng Yunhu knew that Chen Bingyu had a hidden identity. However, as the genius of the Nangong family, Nangong Yun had been secretly taken care of by Chen Bingyu from the beginning. Before his daughter left, Nangong Yi had told Chu Tian that there was someone in the upper echelons of Central State Academy who was a member of the Nangong family. This person was Chen Bingyu. Who would have thought that after Nangong Yun came to Central State Academy, other than going to see Chen Bingyu on the first day, she never went to see Chen Bingyu again. She spent all day fighting and causing trouble in the academy, committing all sorts of crimes. Now, everything was fine. He actually created a Taoist dojo. If it had been someone else, Chen Bingyu would have destroyed the dojo directly. However, she still had to give some face to Nangong Yun. While Chen Bingyu was thinking about what to do, she suddenly saw a young man wearing a white robe with golden trim coming out of the dojo. Who else could this person be other than Yun Xiao? Public lecture. Public lecture? The dojo has decided to hold a public class at the last minute. It doesn't matter if you're a member or not, everyone can participate. The number of people who can sign up is limited, so hurry up and grab this opportunity. Public class? I might as well go and take a look. Chen Bingyu had concealed her aura and put on a simple disguise. Coupled with her extremely deceptive appearance, she looked like a young woman in her 20s. Everyone would only think that she was a student. Who would have thought that she was the vice principal? Chen Bingyu was too beautiful. With this kind of beauty in Central State Academy, she should have been famous a long time ago. Of course, in a place like Qilin Hall, everyone came for knowledge. So what if there were beauties? Beauties still had to line up. When Chen Bingyu entered the dojo, she almost sat in the last row, but it didn't matter. With her cultivation and strength, even the buzzing of a mosquito would not be able to escape her ears at this distance. Goddess! Goddess Nangong is out. The male students howled and cheered. A red-haired beauty in training clothes walked out. She had a wonderful figure, a fiery aura, and a beautiful appearance. She had a valiant and heroic aura that a girl shouldn't have. It made people feel close to her, and their hearts couldn't help but ripple. Nangong Yun paced back and forth, glancing at the hundreds of people in the training hall, and said in an old-fashioned manner, "I want to say that you're all in luck. In order to celebrate the successful recruitment of Qilin Hall's first batch of members, we will be holding a free public class today." Chen Bingyu's heart was even more unhappy. "You haven't come to Central State Academy to ask me a few times and you've been fighting like a hoodlum all day. Now you're pretending to be a lecturer and teaching students. Don't you know how much weight you have? What kind of propriety is this?" Nangong Yun did not notice Chen Bingyu because there were too many people in the public class. She continued to act like a big sister. "Recently, I've been hearing some discussions. They say that the Qilin Hall's classes are all basic and basic knowledge, as if our Qilin Hall doesn't have the ability to take out higher-level things. Is there such a thing? Who is it? Who is speaking nonsense?" Wang Meng loudly shouted, "Who dares slander Qilin Hall? I'll bring people to beat them up." The people in the crowd were filled with righteous indignation, creating an atmosphere of jianghu. "Quiet! Quiet!" Nangong Yun stopped and pressed her hands down. The crowd instantly became silent, no matter what. Since someone has said this, I can't turn a blind eye to it. So, we will now be broadcasting a higher-level class. The goal is to let you understand that a higher-level class is not something you can learn just because you want to. If you want to learn, you need to have the ability. What? A higher-level class? Everyone's eyes lit up. This was a class worth at least several 100,000 gold coins. Don't blame elder sister for not reminding you. This level of class is not something you can grasp. I advise you to prepare your notebooks and write down every word. If this knowledge is taken outside, it will be enough to make a small fortune. Do you hear me? Everyone believed her without a doubt. They quickly pulled out their notebooks and pens, preparing to write down their notes. Chen Bingyu was even more disdainful. This kind of public class actually dared to call it a higher-level class. Don't make people laugh to death. But she would listen to it for now and teach this little girl Nangong a lesson. Yun Xiao, why are you dilly-dallying, brat? Quickly bring out the equipment for this old lady. Coming. Yun Xiao placed the phonograph on the training ground. It's none of your business. Nangong Yun kicked him. Scram? Yun Xiao cried out. He was a famous playboy, but in front of elder sister, he was like a grandson. Nangong Yun carefully pulled out a disc. This class is 2 hours long and is called Exploring the Essence of Water Energy 1. As the name suggests, it is a class that explores the essence of elemental energy. It will begin now. What a joke! It was actually an exploration of water energy? Chen Bingyu's cultivation technique was the ice and snow chi transformation secret art. This was an ancient cultivation technique excavated from an ancient ruin. It was very deep and profound and was related to water. Chen Bingyu was a martial arts maniac, so she was very good at studying cultivation techniques and martial arts. She even knew how complex and profound it was. The small Qilin Hall dared to talk about exploring the mysteries of water energy. How could this kind of knowledge be casually spoken about? If it wasn't done properly, it would harm their lives. This was enough reason for the training hall to be closed down. I won't say any more nonsense. After placing the disc into the groove of the phonograph's array, Nangong Yun used her spirit energy to activate the array and directly raised the volume to the maximum. The disc slowly rotated above the array and the sound that was sealed inside was slowly released through the loudspeaker. Hello everyone. Today we will be talking about the first lesson of Exploring the Essence of Water Energy 1. Everyone opened their notebooks and began to record it down. This was a course worth tens of thousands of gold coins. If they could bring the knowledge home, it would be more than enough to create more value. Chen Bingyu stared at the phonograph and revealed a look of surprise. This was the first time seeing a phonograph, so they were all amazed by this magical invention. An ice-cold machine, how could it have the ability to speak? This was truly incredible. Chen Bingyu was a person who had seen the world. Although it was very complicated and troublesome to preserve sound, there were actually talismans and arrays that could do it. But this kind of low-cost and convenient method was the first time it had appeared on the continent. The invention of this phonograph did not have a small meaning. Water, when it boils, it turns into gas, and when it condenses, it turns into ice. This is one of the most common types of energy. Water is like water. Water nourishes all living things and does not fight. But that does not mean that water is weak. If the sea tilts and the river flows backwards, it is enough to destroy a country. Then what is water energy? Chen Bingyu revealed a cold smile. She wanted to see what kind of novel theory this Qilin Hall could come up with. Actually, water and water energy are two different concepts. Water is a kind of substance and substances have different energies, so they cannot be generalized. Water energy is a kind of energy that has certain characteristics. It is flowing, flexible, and pervasive. Could it be that only water has water energy? Wrong. This is a large misunderstanding. Actually, all living things have water energy. Water is a carrier of water energy, but it is not the only carrier. Chen Bingyu knit her brows. This was becoming more and more difficult to understand. But after carefully tasting it, there seemed to be a bit of flavor to it. For example, a piece of gold is hard and compact. This is its own characteristic. When the gold is melted, the hard and compact characteristic will disappear and it will be replaced by the wild and hot characteristics of fire. This is the energy of fire and the flowing and changing characteristics of water. This is the energy of water, but its essence is gold. Doesn't this mean that water and fire energy are compatible? People often say that water and fire cannot coexist, but this is actually wrong. Ice and fire can come from the same source and can even create stronger cultivation techniques and martial arts based on this principle. That's all for now. Next, we will delve into this topic. I will list several simple cultivation techniques, from the characteristics of energy to the cultivation technique. I hope it will be of help to everyone. When Chen Bingyu heard this, her brows tightly knit together. This point of view was indeed very groundbreaking. It actually made her fall into deep thought. At this time, the voice from the phonograph began to list several cultivation techniques in detail. It dissected them and explained them in detail. From the shallow to the deep, it slowly progressed. Chen Bingyu's expression continued to change. It went from serious to surprised and finally to shocked. Mysterious. Mysterious. Was this really a lesson from a broken dojo? When Chen Bingyu heard half of it, her entire view of life was turned upside down. The wonders of water, the changes of water, the spirituality of water, it was explained in detail. It was concise and comprehensive, bold and imaginative, but it went straight to the essence. It mentioned many improvement plans for water cultivation techniques. It was very enlightening. The others were dumbfounded. This knowledge was too profound for them. Although it was explained well, they could not understand it at all. Chen Bingyu, on the other hand, was very different. She had an unprecedented and mysterious feeling that enveloped her. Every word that came out of the phonograph was like a sharp needle that pierced through the stubborn Bayan and pierced into her soul. As long as they dug out the information, they would be able to earn 10 times the profit. Of course, the prerequisite was that they were fast enough and they had to be ahead of everyone else. Only a fool would sell notes. Chapter 147. While they were teaching in the training hall, Chu Tian and Nangong Yun were discussing their future plans. Qilin Hall's current income is not bad, but there is a limit to how much we can develop. Our most important task is to pave the way for miracle commerce. Miracle commerce is our foundation, so we can't be tempted by the benefits in front of us and put the cart before the horse. I've already contacted Jing Hao and he has already gathered all the resources. The first magnetic sound tower has already been secretly built and they are currently working on the second and third magnetic sound towers. Tong Xiaoyu has already designed the radio and is currently in production at the Tianshan Chamber of Commerce's factory. People really couldn't be compared to each other. I haven't accomplished anything in the main city and boss has done so many things as soon as he arrived. All kinds of arrangements and preparations, they seemed casual, but they were all very precise and ingenious. They had already been prepared for miracle commerce without anyone knowing. Chu Tian continued to say, the phonograph has been stockpiled and miracle commerce has been officially launched. They will immediately be released to the market. How many of these phonographs have been made? Nangong Yun was very interested. No matter what, I have to buy at least 8-10 of them. This thing is just too easy to use. The phonograph was a very perfect storage medium. It would be widely used in every aspect of life in the future, especially music and art. It would have an unimaginable effect on them. Chu Tian nodded. The training hall had already finished. A Qilin Hall member came in. Elder sister, there's someone outside asking to see you. I'm busy. Nangong Yun impatiently said, I won't see him. Tell him to scram. But this Qilin Hall member hesitated. Her attitude is very firm. It seems like she wants to see you no matter what. Nangong Yun was about to explode in anger. Don't be anxious. Chu Tian waved his hand and said to that person, go find Yun Xiao and have him see what's going on. He quickly left to find Yun Xiao. This was a woman wearing a black veil that covered her face. Although her appearance could not be seen, from her temperament and figure, this woman was of the highest quality. Yun Xiao was not interested in other things, but women, especially beautiful women, he had no immunity to them at all. When Yun Xiao saw her, his eyes lit up and he eagerly asked, Hey, beauty, is there anything I can help you with? Let me introduce myself first. My name is Yun Xiao. That's right, I'm known as the Mad Demon of Challenge, the cultivation technique master, the genius that once defeated 20 experts of the Vermilion Bird ranking in a single day. How was it? Do you worship me? The black-veiled woman was naturally Qin Bingyu. She had completely forgotten her original intention of coming here. The charm of Qilin Hall was too strong. They couldn't be blamed for skipping classes. Even Qin Bingyu herself couldn't resist the temptation here. She had already asked around and found that this was high-level content that outsiders could not listen to. The only way was to join Qilin Hall. I want to join the dojo. Yun Xiao frowned. This is not easy. Chen Bingyu was a little dissatisfied. Is there a problem? Babe, I can help you with anything else, but this is the only thing that I'm afraid won't be easy. Yun Xiao shook his head and said, our Qilin Hall's first batch of members has been filled, so we will stop recruiting now. If a beauty wants to join us, you can only wait for the next batch. How could this be? Chen Bingyu was already prepared to join Qilin Hall. This Qilin Hall did not give her any face at all, which made Chen Bingyu feel very dissatisfied. Since the rules are made by people, there must be a way to change them. One more person or one less person, it doesn't matter. I'll pay 10 times the membership fee, how about it? Babe, this isn't right. A person needs to have principles. Yun Xiao pretended to be righteous and then added, although the rules are made by people, the person who made them is not a normal person, so I don't dare break them. So, I'm sorry babe, please leave. That person? Who was that person? Chen Bingyu thought of something and her body suddenly trembled as she said, the person you're talking about, is he the person who recorded the disc? Yun Xiao did not hide it, it's him. Chen Bingyu felt like she had been struck by lightning. At this moment, she found it hard to describe her feelings. Excitement, ecstasy, and nervousness. She never would have thought that the person who recorded the class would actually be in Qilin Hall. Then she had to join Qilin Hall even more. No matter what price she had to pay, she wouldn't hesitate. Chen Bingyu anxiously said, call Nangong Yun out, I want to see her. Elder sister is discussing matters with that person and elder sister is famous for her personality. Running over to disturb him, aren't you just asking for a beating? Yun Xiao was a little unhappy. I say, although you're a babe, you can't be this willful. That person was currently in Qilin Hall. That tall chest began to heave up and down and Chen Bingyu couldn't help trembling. She suddenly felt that even the air had become heavy. Yun Xiao's heart couldn't help skipping a beat. Was there something wrong with this girl? Then why don't you wait and I'll go try? No, don't disturb him. I can wait for them to finish. Chen Bingyu was afraid that she would disturb that expert. If she left a bad impression on the other side, that would not be good. What was going on? This truly was a strange person. This girl was a little crazy, so Yun Xiao did not think too much about it. Since it's like this, then we'll wait here first. Chen Bingyu did not have any complaints. This was because to be able to grasp such profound knowledge and techniques, the other side was definitely a rare great scholar in southern Xia. Even the famous great scholar Gu Qianqiu had been visited by Chen Bingyu before. Although Gu Qianqiu was very knowledgeable, it was not enough for her to worship him. The person who recorded the disc was the only person that Chen Bingyu had worshipped since she was young. What kind of person was he? From the announced curriculum of the training hall, it covered all kinds of cultivation techniques, martial arts, and etc. It could be said that there was nothing that this person didn't know. This kind of all-round scholar, without a strong innate talent and several decades of painstaking study, it was impossible. So, the other side was most likely like Yun Tianhe, an old man that was close to 100 years old. While Chen Bingyu was filled with worship, she also felt a strong sense of admiration. This kind of advanced knowledge, it was not something that could be completed in a short period of time. This person had probably spent his entire life researching and he had taken it out for the public to study, allowing the Qilin Hall students to use his knowledge to write papers that would be published in various academies. He would allow them to use his knowledge to improve cultivation techniques and recipes, allowing them to benefit from it. Too noble. Too selfless. Chen Bingyu did not care about fame and fortune, but she knew that she could not do this. Dusk gradually fell and the people in Qilin Hall began to decrease. The students gradually dispersed, but Chen Bingyu was still standing in front of Qilin Hall, just like a statue that would not move. Chu Tian was sitting in the training hall, feeling a little anxious at this moment. Most of the people in Qilin Hall had left. Why weren't they coming yet? While Chu Tian was feeling depressed, Yun Yao came in through the side door. She looked at Chu Tian with an anxious gaze. She's here. Chu Tian quickly asked Yun Xiao, what about the person I told you to go see? Oh, you're talking about that strange woman? Yun Xiao revealed a helpless look. She waited an entire afternoon and I refused to leave no matter what. I can't do anything to her. Since she waited an entire afternoon, that means her attitude is not bad. Nengong, go and see her. If her request is too excessive, just agree to her, do you understand? All right. We'll stop here for today. I'll go to the Jing family's magnetic sound tower to see the latest situation. Chu Tian walked to Yun Yao's side and asked, how is it? Yun Yao replied, she's already here. You should quickly leave, otherwise it will be dangerous. Chu Tian revealed a faint smile, not bad, not bad. The timing is not bad, let's quickly leave this place. When Yun Yao escorted Chu Tian out, Yun Xiao brought Nangong Yun out of Qilin Hall. When she saw Chen Bingyu, Nangong Yun's eyes popped out. Aunt Chin, why is it you? Yun Xiao looked at Nangong Yun and then at the black-veiled woman. This girl really knew elder sister? But it was very strange. This girl did not look that old, so why did elder sister call her this? When did you come? Nangong Yun came forward with an apologetic look. Just tell me directly. Chen Bingyu nervously looked around. Where is the senior that recorded the disc? Isn't he with you? Senior? What senior? Nangong Yun immediately realized who she was talking about. She rolled her eyes and said with a grin, he already left. What? He left? Chen Bingyu felt very depressed, but she quickly became spirited again. Yun, I have something I want to discuss with you. Say it. Nangong Yun proudly patted her chest. Aunt Chen's matter is Nangong Yun's matter. I want to enter Qilin Hall? Nangong Yun almost jumped up. Other people did not know Chen Bingyu's identity, but how could she not know? Chen Bingyu was Shen Fengho's friend and had been recommended by Shen Fengho to become the Central State Academy's vice principal. Her position was around the same as Yun Tian's, but Chen Bingyu was very low-key and rarely showed her face, so most students did not recognize her. Chen Bingyu had been a consecrator of the Nangong family in her early years, so she had quite a bit of relationship with the Nangong family. She was very strong and out of all the experts in Central State City, perhaps only Shen Fengho could defeat her. This kind of powerful person, she actually wanted to join Qilin Hall? Nangong Yun was shocked and her heart suddenly trembled. She looked very careless on the surface, but she was actually very careful and had a sense of propriety. She was well aware of Chen Bingyu's abilities. If this person joined Qilin Hall, it would be hard to avoid being connected to Miracle Commerce. If Chen Bingyu and Miracle Commerce were tied together, then Miracle Commerce's influence in Central State would increase greatly. Wasn't Chu Tian always laying the foundation for Miracle Commerce to move to Central State? He had already won over the Central State Yun family. If he added in Chen Bingyu's support, then the situation would be completely different. Although Qilin Hall is full, Aunt Chen is not an outsider, so I think I can make an exception. You can be assured, I'll talk to the leader. He will definitely let you in. Moreover, I'll directly raise you to a high-level member, giving you the qualifications to listen to the high-level classes. Really? This was truly great. Chen Bingyu's heart finally calmed down. Chen Bingyu's face was filled with excitement as she said, all right. I'll have to trouble you with this matter. I'll definitely thank you in the future. Hi, what are we talking about? Nangong Yun pulled Chen Bingyu and said, let's take a look inside first. All right. Chen Bingyu's heart was filled with joy. Nangong Yun's confident appearance meant that her position in Qilin Hall was not low, so entering Qilin Hall was already in the bag. This was great. She had to listen to the entire class. Ever since she had attended Qilin Hall's class, her heart had been itching like a cat. She did not want to wait another day. She first went in with Nangong Yun to take a look. Chen Bingyu was also very interested in the phonograph and the magnetic sound discs. When the two of them were about to enter Qilin Hall, suddenly, Chen Bingyu's expression changed. This is bad. There are spirit energy fluctuations. Before Nangong Yun could react, there was a large explosion and Qilin Hall was covered in flames. There were several explosions that created a strong shockwave from the center of the hall. The hall was not that big, so how could it withstand several explosions? It was blown to pieces on the spot and it completely collapsed. Damn! Nangong Yun angrily said, "Which bastard did this?" Zhao Kun, Wang Meng, and the other Qilin Hall elders were running away with ashen faces. Each of them had injuries on their bodies. This is bad. Someone launched a sneak attack. Not only did they steal the phonograph and all the discs, they even destroyed the hall. Nangong Yun flew into a rage. Bastards! 3-4 figures charged out of the hall and ran in different directions. Stop them! Nangong Yun anxiously shouted. These fellows had not only destroyed the hall, they had also stolen the phonograph and the discs. These were the core secrets of the hall and miracle commerce. These sneak attackers all had high cultivations. Each of them had reached the triple awakened soul realm. If they wanted to escape, even Nangong Yun would not be able to stop them. At this moment, a terrifying cold wave filled with an earth-shattering rage was suddenly released. It filled the entire world as if winter had suddenly arrived, making everyone feel a chill. That monstrous, raging killing intent swept out like a volcanic eruption. Chapter 148. Chen Bingyu's heart was filled with excitement. She thought that after joining Qilin Hall, she would be able to learn the knowledge she yearned for. She could not wait another day. However, it had to be at this time. Qilin Hall had been destroyed by someone, destroyed Qilin Hall's equipment, and stolen from Qilin Hall. How could she not be angry? How could she not be angry? Chen Bingyu's nickname was the Ice Queen. Even the headmaster was a bit afraid of her because Chen Bingyu had an eccentric personality. Her methods were cold and ruthless, and adding in her high cultivation base, she did not fear anyone in Central State City. Although she did not belong to any power, no one dared to offend her. This time, the three great families had hit the tip of the spear. A cold spirit energy was released along with a heaven-piercing killing intent. It was enough to freeze the earth, freeze living beings, and freeze souls. This was a storm that came from a distant cold land. It came so suddenly and so abruptly that no one was prepared for it. It instantly swept through several miles of space. The moisture in the air froze and turned into countless ice flowers that danced in the sky. With Chen Bingyu as the center, the cold wave spread out at a speed visible to the naked eye. It spread out in all directions and the ground was covered in ice. The already ruined training hall and flames were instantly extinguished. At the same time, it was covered in a layer of ice. In an instant, a cold winter descended upon the earth. Several masked people were covered in a layer of white frost, and it was hard for them to even move. What? This strength she is? When the cold wave arrived, facing this incomparably strong strength, they did not have the slightest ability to resist. The two sides were not on the same level. They only had one thought. Escape. But they had angered Chen Bingyu. Could they still escape? Chen Bingyu was covered in white spirit energy as she flew into the air. The invisible spirit energy surrounded her body and gradually condensed into octagonal snowflakes. This was a source spirit? A snowflake source spirit? The snowflakes were not created by a cultivation technique, but rather by Chen Bingyu's source spirit. There were all kinds of source spirits that appeared in southern Xia, but a snowflake source spirit had never been heard of before. This was because the appearance of a source spirit reflected the lethality of the source spirit. The tiger source spirit's lethality was definitely stronger than the wildcat source spirit, and the wolf source spirit's lethality was definitely stronger than the wolf dog source spirit. The more dangerous the source spirit was, the stronger the source spirit was. Snowflakes gave people a feeling of being light, as if they were harmless things, so as a cultivator with an essence soul, how strong could they be? Now, the power that Chen Bingyu displayed had completely subverted everyone's understanding. The sparkling and translucent octagonal snowflakes were crystal clear, flawless, and as beautiful as a work of art. From few to many, from sparse to dense. Finally, millions of snowflakes gathered together, forming a long ice dragon that circled around Chen Bingyu. Snow and snow cover the sun. Chen Bingyu waved her hands. Millions of snowflakes erupted like a storm. Every snowflake shot out at a speed that was hard to discern with the naked eye. These snowflakes turned into sharp and deadly darts that instantly covered the massed people. There were too many of them, too fast and too dense, there was no way for them to dodge at all. The snowflakes tore through their protective spirit energy and a terrifying strength entered their bodies, filling their organs and seeping into their limbs. Each large snowflake was made of millions of smaller snowflakes, so when they entered their bodies, the snowflakes scattered and continued to wildly pass through their meridians, making them feel as if they were being cut by 10,000 blades. Ah, stop! Several cultivators did not even have time to cry out before they were brutally killed on the spot. The last one was still running for his life. His cultivation was close to the fourth awakened soul layer, so he could resist for a long time. But his body was sealed in ice and he was already heavily injured. He begged for mercy. "Vice Principal Chen, please spare me. I am a consecrated member of the Chu family, you can't kill me." "Chu family? Even if you are a royal, you will still die." Chen Bingyu turned a deaf ear to his cries. The terrifying ice and snow energy entered his body and instantly froze his organs. The masked man was completely frozen from the inside out. He had turned into an ice sculpture. Chen Yinyu waved her hands. The ice sculpture shattered into pieces, turning into countless shards that rained down. This kind of death could not be saved even by an immortal. Such a terrifying strength. The awakened soul realm was divided into 3 stages: void soul, illustrious soul, and true soul. Although they were all in the awakened soul realm, there was a very clear difference. An awakened soul realm void soul cultivator could only add in the power of their source spirit, but their source spirit itself did not have a strong killing power. An awakened soul realm illustrious soul cultivator was a step further than the former. They could release their aura, so before an illustrious soul cultivator made a move, they could use their aura to deter their opponents. A late awakened soul realm true soul cultivator was different. Their source spirit already had a terrifying strength, it could even kill experts of the same realm. This woman did not use any cultivation technique, she just used her source spirit to release a powerful strength. Her strength had definitely reached the late awakened soul realm, the true soul realm, and it was not low. The peak experts of the true soul realm could be counted on one hand in Central State. Before the consecrated member of the Chu family died, he called her Vice Principal Chen. Then her identity was on the verge of being revealed. Central State Academy's vice principal, a famous expert, the Ice Queen's Chen Bingyu. What kind of person was Chen Bingyu? Even the mayor had to give her face and Shen Fengho treated her as a friend. Those unlucky fellows that died in her hands were doomed to die in vain. The 3 great families would not risk their lives against Chen Bingyu for 1 or 2 elders and consecrated members. Even if the 3 great families used their power to fight against Chen Bingyu, they would still have to pay a heavy price. This was not rational. This matter was very strange no matter how she looked at it. Nangong Yun thought of Chu Tian's strange actions today. She was not a fool, she had already guessed that this was Chu Tian's plan. He had used a borrowed knife to kill them, Chen Bingyu had been completely used by him. Otherwise, even if they had a way to kill these people, the 3 great families would not give up and would even have an even stronger reaction. Borrowing Chen Bingyu's hand to kill them, the result would be completely different. If the 3 great families wanted to counterattack, they would have to think it over. Anyways, they would have to suffer this loss. This fellow was truly as sly as a fox. "Aunt Chen, why did you kill them all?" Nangong Yun exaggeratedly said, "They seem to be people from the 3 great families. Killing them will cause a lot of trouble." Chen Bingyu gave a cold snort and said, "I'm not afraid of the 3 great families. They were killed by me, so as long as I'm here, they won't dare do anything to you. Let's go and see if there are any losses." The Qilin Hall had been completely destroyed. This is bad. The phonograph and discs have all been destroyed. Several dozen discs were brought back from the corpses. These discs were covered in a thick layer of ice and most of them had been shattered by the spirit energy snowflakes. Destroyed. Completely destroyed. Nangong Yun wanted to cry but had no tears. This Qilin Hall can only announce its closure. Everyone revealed a look of disbelief. What was happening? The Qilin Hall hadn't even been open for 10 days and it was actually going to close. How could this be? Although the Qilin Hall had only been open for a short period of time, everyone could not leave this place. The Qilin Hall can't be closed. Isn't it just a broken house? At worst we can just raise money to rebuild it. That's right, I'm willing to give 100,000. I'll give 200,000. Everyone rushed to raise money. As long as the Qilin Hall didn't close, they were willing to give a bit more money. After all, the Qilin Hall was just too important to them. In just a few short days, they felt like they had been reborn. What if they cultivated in the Qilin Hall for a month, half a year, or even longer? We can't close it. The most anxious person here was not the normal students, but rather Chen Bingyu. Chen Bingyu was a late-stage awakened soul realm expert. Her strength could be considered a first-rate expert in southern Xia. She was respected by tens of thousands of people and had power and wealth at her fingertips, but to Chen Bingyu, these were just worldly possessions that had no use at all. Chen Bingyu was well aware of the bottleneck she was facing. Studying in the Qilin Hall was her only chance. If she missed it, there would be no more. Nangong Yun's eyes turned. If the phonograph is destroyed, we can rebuild it. If the magnetic sound disc is destroyed, we can record it again. Of course, if the house collapses, we can repair it again. But now that the three great families want to make a move against us, I'm afraid. Chen Bingyu directly said, I am willing to personally oversee the Qilin Hall. As long as I am here, they will not dare act rashly here. Good. Nangong Yun's heart was filled with joy and a trace of craftiness flashed in her eyes. With Aunt Chen's support, how could the Qilin Hall not open? How about this? I'll go back and discuss it with the boss. We'll buy a new place and equipment and we'll open the training hall in 10 days. Everyone was filled with joy. As long as the Qilin Hall didn't close, it was good. Nangong Yun waved her hand, everyone can go back. As compensation for the temporary closing of the training hall, we will be selling phonographs in the near future to make it more convenient for everyone to study. The phonographs were going to be sold? This was truly great. Everyone revealed looks of pleasant surprise as they left in satisfaction. That night, Nangong Yun excitedly raised her cup to congratulate Chu Tian. Your foresight is like that of a god. Not only will it solve the problem of the Qilin Hall, it will also create a strong enemy for the three great families, and it will also give Miracle Commerce a strong backer. This is truly killing two birds with one stone. Actually, this plan was quite risky. Although Chu Tian had set up a trap, if Chen Bingyu had made a move without any explanation, then the plan would not have been able to proceed. Chen Bingyu and Nangong Yun's relationship was something that Chu Tian did not know before, so Chen Bingyu did not destroy the training hall as soon as she arrived. This gave Chu Tian a chance to win her over. Chu Tian revealed a faint smile, but speaking of this Chen Bingyu is your elder and has a deep relationship with your family. Using her as a spear, don't you feel guilty? Guilty my ass. This was all done by you, so don't even think of putting it on me in the future. Nangong Yun drank the wine jug in one gulp. Moreover, are you using Auntie Chin as a spear? This is giving her a clear path and using this chance to let her join Miracle Commerce. I think that in a few years, she won't even have the time to thank us. Otherwise, if we don't use her, how could we have such a good chance? Isn't that right? Ha ha, it's good that you can think like this. As for the reopening of the Qilin Hall, how are your preparations? This place makes too much money and will lose several million if we're late by a day. There's no rush for now. I'm currently discussing with the Yun family and they'll give us the new headquarters of the Yun sect. In the Yun sect's headquarters, there are laboratories, training fields, and all kinds of equipment. Our Qilin Hall does not just need to teach, we also need to create a comprehensive training base. Cooperating with the Yun sect is a win-win situation. Nangong Yun's eyes lit up. This was a very good thing. The new Qilin Hall would be built in the Yun sect, and they would have the Yun sect's mature research resources, increasing their safety. Even if the three great families were itching with hatred, wouldn't they still be a bit afraid of the Yun family's influence? After all, the Yun family was as famous as the three of them. If the Yun sect and Qilin Hall cooperated, they would naturally benefit from it. It would allow the Yun sect's influence to grow, which was a win-win situation. Calculating the time, the young miss should be in the main city soon and the arrangements here should be done. It's about time to open up Central State. After not seeing them for so many days, I've missed them quite a bit. I wonder how they've been recently. Nangong Yun gave a soft snort and was actually a bit unhappy. It's only been a few days. When I came to Central State by myself, I didn't see you miss me at all. Nangong Yun actually said this kind of thing. Chu Tian was also a bit stunned. Do you still need to miss me? With this kind of personality and strength, who can move against you? Chu Tian said against his heart. Who said that? Of course I miss you. I think of you 3-5 times every day before I go to sleep. So nauseating. Nangong Yun's face turned red for the first time and she quickly changed the topic. Even if elder sister Qinggu and little sister Yingying have left, it will still take several days for them to arrive. The Central State trials are about to begin and only a small portion of outsiders are allowed to participate. I see that you have nothing better to do, so why don't you go test your skills? Chu Tian had already heard about this matter from Yun Yao and Yun Xiao. I have this kind of garlic. Chu Tian slowly stood up. No matter what, the Chu, Luo, and Yi families have destroyed my training hall, so I have to personally take revenge. Moreover, the young miss is coming, so I have to give her a proper welcome ceremony. Nangong Yun said with an arrogant expression, you can't beat me right now, so let me do this. I can't beat you? You don't believe me? Just wait and see. I'll see you on the stage. What Nangong Yun said was the truth. Chu Tian was at the peak first awakened soul layer and Nangong Yun was at the peak second awakened soul layer. Their defensive cultivation technique was the Starlight Immortal Body, and their cultivation speed was about the same. The difference between the second awakened soul layer and the first awakened soul layer was like heaven and earth. So in terms of defensive power, Chu Tian lost by a large amount. Nangong Yun also had a god-level source spirit, so her battle strength was very abnormal. She had the ability to jump levels to fight. Looking at it like this, Chu Tian did not have a high chance of beating her. However, he was being provoked so blatantly. How could Chu Tian endure this? If he didn't teach her a lesson, she wouldn't know who was boss. He gave the money to Yun Yao that night and had her by the source stone. Chu Tian did not want Yun Yao to run errands, but that thing was too expensive. If a nameless rogue cultivator were to spend a large amount of money to buy it, it would inevitably attract attention. So it was best to have Yun Yao do it. He had earned quite a bit of money in this period of time, but after spending several tens of millions on the source stone and paying the Tianshan Chamber of Commerce's construction fees, he only had a few gold coins left. Money was just a worldly possession. It was a tool to reach a goal and a necessary tool. As long as he could get a return after spending it, it was fine. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.